In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics.
All right, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the stream. Very much appreciate you for joining me. My name is Brian. This is Blunt Politics. If you didn't know, if it's your first time joining us, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your day, giving me the option, giving me the chance to give you the opinions, the news, the facts of the day. Lots to dive into today. Obviously, some big announcements being made, different kind of points of view, different rhetoric coming from both sides. So we're going to have to dive into probably one of the craziest geopolitical times in recent memory. I mean, it's just everything that's ongoing right now with, the fake ceasefires and, now that the blockade of the Strait that was already blocked and now it's open. Like the whole thing is just madness. So we're going to be diving into all of the, the news reports, the coverage, all of the rhetoric coming from both sides of this. We're going to try to figure out what the hell is actually going on. Again, as it looks to me, looks like Donald Trump and the United States have pretty much capitulated, have pretty much given Iran everything that they want. Now that the United States has been forced to kind of curtail Israel's ongoing attacks on Lebanon, on Hezbollah, in order to get this kind of deal done, in order to get this so-called opening of the Strait done with the Iranian government. It's pretty much the same thing that we were talking about, what was it, a week or so ago, as JD Vance and Donald Trump were pretty much adamant that the Lebanon situation wasn't part of the negotiations, wasn't part of the deal. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Looks like it's part of the fucking deal. Okay, looks like that was absolutely a sticking point. Looks like something that was, given to the Iranians by the United States as far as what they wanted to see happen. But like I said, there's a ton to dive into, ton to talk about. I'm fighting through a headache that could choke a horse today, so bear with me if you could. Good news, though. Pops is home. Pops is home for everybody that was wondering and kind of texting and kind of keeping tabs, keeping track. Pops is home, so shout out to Pops. Appreciate that he's back in action at least. He's not in the hospital anymore. So, all right, what do you say we say hi to the chat? We'll bring in the old Chatsky here while everybody's filtering in. Say hi to everybody. You guys deserve some screen time. What's up, CSL? What's up, my brother? What's up, Olga? How are you? What's up, Rox? What's up, Bry Guy? What's up, Laurie? What's up, Roxanne? What's up, Kyle? Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for the 25 months of loyalship, dude. Sorry that YouTube was having a couple of glitches yesterday. Wasn't letting a few super chats go through, as it were. But thank you so much to everybody that's here. Thank you to Namaste. Thank you to Neely. Thank you to Sammy. Thank you to Deb. What's going on, guys? Yeah, I appreciate you. Hit that like button on the way in. What's up, Zarkon? What's going on, guys? What's up, Shift? Appreciate you. Yeah, I love when everybody joins. It's a big old friggin' family that we've built here, so I appreciate you guys a lot. All right. We're also going to have to be talking about whether or not the Bab el-Mandeb Strait is going to be coming into play. Looks like a lot more rhetoric is coming in as far as whether or not, this blockade stays in place by the United States, or if the United States decides to in any way go against what has been seemingly negotiated so far. It looks like that is something that is definitely in play. But what do you say we just start from the beginning here? Let me throw this on your screen because we're just going to go through all the reports and all the rhetoric from both sides, like I said, just to see if we can kind of, up to date, up to speed on what the hell is actually taking place, ladies and gentlemen. So let me throw this on your screen. This is kind of the beginnings of it. We'll just start here if I can. Let me throw this one on your screen. This is from Syed Abbas Araghchi, okay? And this is talking about, this is the foreign ministry from the Islamic Republic of Iran, and this is what they were putting out as far as kind of like what they see is going on in the opening of the Strait and stuff. So he says, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire on the coordinated route as already announced by Ports and Maritime Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, what does that say to you? Oh, thank you, Carl. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for starting it off in the right way today. You are most welcome, Brian. Here come the sparklers. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that like button on the way, and I really do appreciate everybody joining me. Thank you for Hal for sending people over. Thank you for CSL sending people over. It's really great to see you guys hopping in there. What's up, Jordan? What's up, guys? Yeah, we're just kind of going over the craziness here. We're just going to go through all of the statements, all of the news, kind of all of the reports coming out from this, just like I said, so we can kind of sift through the bullshit ourselves. I'll let you guys kind of be the judge of what you think the outcome is in this. We could talk about how none of this was an issue just about 50 or so days ago until Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump decided to enact this war. But what does this say to you? Who is really in control? What's up, Alyosha? What's up, my man? What's going on? What's up, Dolly Mott? Appreciate everybody filtering in. Make sure you hit that like button. We're just going over the craziness. Yeah, thank you, CSL. I appreciate you guys. Shout out CSL. Shout out Sparklers. W Sparkles in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Come on in. Filter in, one and all. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. But does this show that like the United States is in control of this situation? Because a lot of people reporting on kind of the opening line here, right? In line with the ceasefire with Lebanon, the commercial passage for vessels is open as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned. But the second part of this, on the coordinated route already announced by Ports of Maritime Organization of the Republic of Iran. Okay, so to me, that sounds like we're still kind of having to give them the leverage. We're still ceding them the leverage and the power over this, not only the negotiations, but seemingly control over the Strait for the foreseeable future. Right. So this, again, is in many ways the United States and Donald Trump just capitulating to the 10-point peace plan. Right. The 10-point agreement that Donald Trump said in no way were they going to agree to. That wasn't anything that they were working with. Maybe a good basis for the start of the negotiations, but definitely not that 10-point peace plan that was going to be put into play. Well, now seemingly every single one of those points has been agreed to by the United States. Now talking about, and we'll go over Donald Trump's True Social post as well. And that brings us into this one. Let me throw this one on because this was kind of the conditions set by Iran as far as the ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This is reported by the Clash report here. It says Iran's conditions for ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz: only commercial vessels are permitted, no military ships or cargo linked to hostile countries. Now, what is going to be deemed as a hostile country? Is that going to be the UAE? Is that going to be Qatar? Is that going to be Bahrain? Like, what is that going to be? Is that going to be basically anybody that had U.S. bases stationed in their territory and kind of allowed the war to take place from those bases? So again, this doesn't seemingly seem like the complete and total opening of the Strait, if you ask me. Again, these are kind of my takes on what's been coming out as far as the news this morning and today. So again, you guys let me know in the chat what you guys think. Maybe it differs in opinion, and that's okay if it does. It says the ships must use routes designated by Iran. Okay, so again, a bit of international waterway, right? It's supposed to be an international shipping lane. Seemingly now, again, under the control, even with these ceasefire, even with the negotiations, even with the so-called opening of the Strait, given to Iran, because it has to be through the routes that they chose. They still have to kind of allow them to know like what type of vessel you are, what you're carrying, right? So there's still like this huge kind of like, okay, we still need to deal with Iran if we're going through the Strait. We still need to, tell them what type of shipping we're carrying, where we're coming from, what flag we're flying, and they get to determine whether or not we're going to make it through the Strait. And if we do make it through the Strait, we have to go through the designated areas, the designated passage that they have put in place. Again, just shows you the amount of control, the amount of leverage that Iran continues to have in this. And I think, to a degree, to a large degree, I will say, like, both sides in this are delusional. Right. You gotta fucking, call it as it is. I mean, both sides in this are delusional to a degree. Right. The Iranians are delusional because they have really been affected by this. They have really been kind of hampered. Their military capabilities, the amount of, infrastructure that has been hit, the amount of, targets that have been struck. So again, to the extent that they now wield the power, I think they're a bit delusional. That's not, again, taking away any of the leverage that they've been handed over, that they've been afforded by the United States and Israel as far as the Strait is concerned. But again, I think they're playing that up for a purpose, for a reason, as far as the ability they have to control that. Again, let's put it into, let's put it where, facts where they lay. Again, they don't have the Navy. They don't have the aircraft in order to control the airspace over the Strait, right? They have the ability to put mines in there. They have the ability to threaten. They have the ability to send drones and missiles into there, to the extent that they still have capabilities to do that, right? Again, not taking anything away, but they've been propping this up, right? They've been kind of overplaying their hand to a large extent as well. On the other side, you got the delusional Donald Trump, the delusional United States trying to come out of this, saying that they're smelling like roses, like we've achieved overwhelming success and fucking overwhelming victory in this instance. It's just ridiculous, kind of on both sides to see here. So there is a bit of delusion. I will, obviously everybody has to admit on both sides of this. So we have like two erratic regimes kind of vying here for geopolitical fucking power as it pertains to this, geographical area. And both of them are kind of like just not living in reality, right? More so, I would say, as painful as it is to admit, I'd say even the Iranian regime is kind of more so in touch with reality, in touch with what's actually going on, the powers that they have, what's the ability to control the Strait than even the United States regime is. It sucks to admit, but again, there's been ample pieces of evidence to prove that. But this doesn't prove to me, this type of thing doesn't prove to me that we've like achieved victory, that we're somehow more beneficial now. We're better off now than we were just before this war started. Again, a problem that wasn't a problem before Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump decided to strike inside of Iran. So again, we keep going because this is, and it's probably going to make me refresh the fact that I'm a human here as I put this on your screen, because this is coming from True Social. So just a couple of the posts here. They've been coming kind of like, so I told you, it's always going to make me fucking verify you're a human, because the fucking, the social media app with the most bots on it is the one that makes you most verify that you're a human, for Christ's sakes. But anyway, Donald Trump has put out a bunch of these posts, again, pretty much flying in the face of everything that we're hearing from the Iranian side. Donald Trump, again, declaring outright victory. So I just want to read a few of these. So this is, Iran has just announced the Strait of Iran, okay? And again, calling it the Strait of Iran right here is just giving them a propaganda win. Is just giving Iran a propaganda win in which they already took advantage of. I've already seen in a few videos them talking about the, I don't know if it was the embassy or the foreign ministry of Iran, but they're already putting out a tweet basically calling it the Strait of Iran is a good day, like good vibes, something along those lines. So Donald Trump says here, Iran has just announced that the Strait of Iran is fully open and ready for full passage. The Strait of Iran. And we all know how much Donald Trump, how much stock he puts into what something is named, right? We all know the Gulf of Mexico turned into the Gulf of America and how he's fucking, applauding himself and patting himself on the back for that. So for him in this instance to call it the Strait of Iran is, again, just a huge propaganda win for the Iranian side as far as that's concerned. Again, international waterways, supposed to have free passage, just not something that continues to show or shows in any way the power, control, stability by the United States over the situation. He goes on to say here, the Strait of Hormuz, again, somebody must have hit him in the ribs, if you know what I mean, trying to be like, don't call it the fucking Strait of Iran. What are you doing, dude? So he went back to the Strait of Hormuz and he says it's completely open and ready for business. Now, does that sound like what we just put on the screen? Does that sound like these stipulations right here? Only commercial vessels, no military ships or cargo linked to hostile countries. Okay, now does that sound anything like, fully open? Right now, is that I'm just trying to we're trying to break it down here. We're just going through the statements, the kind of news reports coming out from not only the Iranian side, but also this, the administration here. Like, what the fuck is actually going on? Donald Trump coming out here and basically just like living in his own world, apparently, because he says here that but the naval blockade will remain in full force. Again, something that the Iranians stipulate will be a violation of the agreement, will be a violation of the ceasefire, which again will put back into play the ability that Iran has to control the Strait of Hormuz, shut the Strait of Hormuz, strike ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And again, as we'll talk about in further articles here and further statements, seems to be that the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, as we were talking about a month ago, I'm assuming at this point, and how that could become an issue, seems to be talked about a little bit more, seems to be brought up a little bit more as far as leverage is concerned. But this goes on because he talks about how until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete, this process should go very quickly in that most of our points are already negotiated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, yada, yada, yada. He then posts another one. The USA will get all the nuclear dust. And again, I'm just not even really fucking sure where he's going with this, created by our B-2 bombers, right? Does he really think it's dust? I don't put it past him for thinking that it's dust, but how does he think he's going to send in excavators and fucking backhoes and they're just going to remove the dust? That's what he really thinks. It's just ridiculous for him to say. So the U.S. will get all the nuclear dust. Again, nothing that I've seen agreed to by the Iranian side in any of the statements, any of the reporting, any of the articles, any of the videos that I've seen. So what the fuck he's talking about here is your guess is as good as mine. No money will exchange hands, and is again going directly in the face of the reporting that we've heard that there are some $20 billion in frozen Iranian assets that is being negotiated. And again, probably if it comes to the point, is going to be handed back to the Iranians in hopes that they, again, allow free passage, safe passage to ships in the Strait of Hormuz, again, showing the leverage of Iran, showing the power that they've managed to accrue in this war, in these negotiations, in this situation. If they're going to be handed over $20 billion, we hear the fucking Republicans all the time. How many times have you guys heard the Republicans bring up the stupid talking point, the bullshit talking point of the $1.7 billion that Obama sent over to the Iranians on some fucking private jet, right? It switches depending on who's saying it. But what if in this case, not only the amount of money that we've spent on this war, the amount of money that have been absolutely wasted in this fucking conflict so far as taxpayer money is concerned, military equipment that has been destroyed, the whole fucking 9 yards, right? But also now we're just going to, hand them over $20 billion of frozen assets. Again, that's something that's probably not going to be talked about by the Republicans if in fact it does happen, considering the asinine, ridiculous, fake talking points that they had about the Obama administration and his handlings of the Iran nuclear problem than the JCPOA, again, which is a much better fucking situation than anything that we're going to find ourselves in the outcome of this, right? There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it as far as that's concerned. But he goes on here. This deal is in a way, what's he say? This deal is in no way subject to Lebanon either, but the USA will separately work with Lebanon in a deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Again, totally false, right? Considering the amount of importance that was put on the Israelis stopping their attacks on the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the fact that this ceasefire wasn't going to happen unless that took place. Donald Trump went on Truth Social, announced that. Again, the Israeli security team, the Security Council, was pissed off at Donald Trump for announcing this before they even had a chance to vote on it. But again, this is not something that we're seeing drawn up or in reality, right? This is not something that's happening on the ground. This is totally separate. It seems like absolutely that is a big talking point. That is a big sticking point. And Iran was pretty much afforded everything that they were calling for. Again, when they were saying, we're not going to negotiate, we're not going to talk unless Israel is part of this ceasefire, unless Israel decides and says they're going to stop fucking attacking inside of Lebanon. We are not going to sit down at the table. We're not going to agree to anything, and we're not going to open the fucking Strait. So Donald Trump got in his little fucking True Social calculator machine there that he had and decided to say, okay, let's fucking preemptively announce that there's a 10-day ceasefire between these two countries, even though, again, Israel isn't technically at war with Lebanon. They're at war with Hezbollah. So why would a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon even impact Israel's ability to strike Hezbollah? Again, the whole thing is just whacked out. Like I said, it's one of the more erratic, unstable geopolitical times that I've seen in the time that I've been covering politics, at least, and I'm sure it goes back even a lot further than that. But he goes on in this one statement here. He says that they are prohibited from doing so by the USA. So basically, Donald Trump saying that Israel, per the United States, is prohibited is not allowed to. They're basically putting their foot down as far as Israel and their ability to strike inside of Lebanon. And that's Donald Trump saying that. Again, we're hearing some rumblings on the other side as far as Israel is concerned. Not very happy with the way this is going down. Not very happy with the control that Donald Trump has seemingly afforded Iran as far as these negotiations are concerned. We're also hearing from different corporations and like oil conglomerates that aren't very happy, again, with the amount of control that has been afforded to the Iranians, even amongst this ceasefire, even amongst this, the ongoing negotiations that we're seeing here. So they're not happy about it either. But Donald Trump continues here. He says, now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over, I received a call from NATO, which he absolutely fucking did. There's just no chance whatsoever at this point that they're fucking calling him and saying at this point now if he needs help. Okay, so he's lying through his teeth at this point. So he says, I told them to stay away unless they just want to load up their ships with oil. They were useless when needed. A paper tiger. So again, just a preemptive attack on NATO as he's just kind of spewing these things out on Truth Social. Excuse me. He also goes on to thank Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar for their great bravery and help. Again, the nations that had, U.S. bases on them had seen, thousands of strikes as far as coming from the Iranian side. Again, are they going to be deemed as hostile nations? Because in this first one, let me see here. Was it this one? Yeah, let me throw this back on the screen because this says here that only commercial vessels are permitted. No military ships or cargo linked to hostile countries. Okay, so again, would Qatar, UAE, would these countries be considered hostile countries for allowing this war to, persist, for allowing this war to happen from their own soil on U.S. bases that are on their fucking, on their territory, right? So again, what is going to be deemed as a hostile nation? I don't know. Again, your guess is as good as mine because none of this seems to be hashed out to any degree. None of this seems to be coherent or consistent as far as what both sides are saying in this, what's being reported. So again, we're just trying to put the pieces together here. I want you guys to kind of tell me in the chat. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm so wrapped up in trying to do it that I don't get to focus on the chat, but I'm sure you guys are having a great discussion in there as far as what this all means, right? Because, like I said, it's your guess is as good as mine. So we're trying to take into account what this fucking lunatic is saying. We're trying to take into account what the Iranians are saying and trying to find the middle point in that and where the truth lies, right? So that's why we're forced to do this. So thanking these people for their great bravery. We've hung them out to dry. They were low on interceptors. If this thing decides to fucking kick back off, we're going to start to see that become even more of a problem. Considering the ongoing reports that we're seeing now that the United States is having to tell our European allies that they're going to have to now be waiting on their interceptors, waiting on different weapons platforms, as far as the aid deal packages are concerned, because of the amount that we're now down, because of the amount that we've used and how long it's going to take us to kind of, reamp our stockpile as far as those weapons are concerned. But Donald Trump goes on here. That's not even it. He says, Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all sea mines. Thank you. Again, what the fuck is he talking about? Oh, did we engage in some fucking joint military mission with the Iranians to go take out all the mines out of the Strait of Hormuz that nobody knew about, wasn't reported? Because again, the time in which they've announced this and the time in which that Donald Trump put this tweet out wasn't even fucking remotely enough time for not only an active, an action like that to be put together, to be planned, but obviously for that to be initiated and completed. Okay, so what the fuck is going on with this? I'm not sure. He says here that with the help of the USA has removed or is removing all sea mines. Again, just showing that they did have the ability to continuously put mines out there, right? I don't think that's what he meant to do as far as this statement was concerned, but that's exactly what he put out there now, that they did and do still have the ability not only to put the mines in place, but to go out there and remove them and to switch the positions at will without the United States Navy or Donald Trump doing anything about it. And then he goes on here and he goes, again, this deal is not tied in any way to Lebanon, but we will make Lebanon great again. Again, yes, it is fucking tied to Lebanon. You had to announce a 10-day ceasefire on True Social before the fucking Israelis could even vote on the son of a bitch to even make this thing happen in the first place. Again, remember this, and I wasn't going to play this quick, but you'll remember this, right? Let me see if I can get this on your screen. Remember this. This is JD Vance, right? Remember what he said here.
There seems to be a disagreement about whether Lebanon was included in this proposal. Would you ask Israel to hold off strikes to allow some space for these talks?
Well, first of all, I know there's been some conversations between the Israelis and the leadership of our country today. I haven't been involved in that because I've been busy doing stuff in Hungary. I'm actually supposed to get an update.
Yeah, helping Orban lose in Hungary. That's what JD Vance was doing. JD Vance was over in Hungary, and I know this is a side note considering what we're covering, but I think it's important to cover anyway. JD Vance was over there shaking the dick of Viktor Orban, trying to help him win his election. Again, the same guy that is now responsible for shredding. Again, go check out the reports. Viktor Orban, his government and his people were shredding documents. Again, probably guaranteed 100% related to the Russians and their control over the last 16 years of not only Viktor Orban, the media in different organizations inside of Hungary. But yeah, so again, it's been reported by the by Peter, as I call him, that the Orban administration, before the sun was even coming up, was in there trying to shred up all the documents so that the new government coming in couldn't see the amount of control, the amount of cooperation, and the relationship between Viktor Orban, his government, and the Russians. You know what I mean? But here's where JD Vance goes on to basically say that Lebanon was never part of the deal. Maybe it was lost in translation. Maybe the Iranians can't speak English. But Lebanon was never part of the deal.
When I get on the plane, but let me say a couple things. First of all, I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith, propaganda going on. I think this comes from a legitimate misunderstanding. I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case.
Never indicated that was going to be the case ever, but we did shit our fucking pants again when Iran said that no negotiations would take place. The Strait wouldn't even be considered to be reopened unless, again, Israel decided to stop their attacks inside of Lebanon against Hezbollah. Right, so that made us the Iranians said jump. Donald Trump said fucking how high. They said high enough to stop fucking Israel from bombing inside of Lebanon. And Donald Trump said bet. Okay, let me make the announcement on True Social. I don't give a shit what BB says because if we don't get this done, I'm going to look like even more of an asshole than I have the entire fucking 50 or so days that this thing's been going on. So again, to see that Donald Trump's announcing that Lebanon is in no way part of the deal is just, again, directly flies in the face of everything that we're seeing. Directly flies in the face of reality on the ground and what these fucking negotiations are talking about. It's ridiculous. So he goes on here. Thank you to Pakistan and his great prime minister, yada, yada, yada. A great and brilliant day for the world. Again, trying to take credit for the fire that he set. Meanwhile, he had to fucking struggle mightily to put out the own fire. Again, it's infuriating to try to rationalize somehow what's taking place, because it's just not, there's no ability to rationalize this. There's no ability to kind of make it make sense. And it's so frustrating. So I apologize for the frustration, but I'm sure you guys, are right there with me. I'm sure you guys understand to a certain degree. And then again, he's been making these posts kind of fucking rapidly on True Social. Iran has agreed to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. Where does it say that? Where has that been said? Where in any of the announcements and here, I'll put this on the screen. Here's another one coming from another Twitter account closely associated with the Iranian regime. And this is put out today. It says the announcement of the opening of the Strait of Hormuz has been made. Let me make this a little bigger on your screen so you guys can read along. You're not squinting at the screen. How's that? A little better. I'll even hop out of the way. Make it a little bigger for you guys so it's even easy to see. How's that? A little better for you guys? All right, so we'll just read through this. So this is, again, Dolphin Iran, a Twitter account closely associated with the Iranian regime. And then it says here, the announcement of the opening of the Strait of Hormuz has been made under completely specific conditions and in full coordination with the forces responsible for the matter. And it will practically be highly limited. This passage, which is contingent on the continued implementation of the ceasefire conditions, will have three conditions. First, the passage will take place along the route designated by Iran. Again, thus showing control, right? This shows control. You're going to open it, we'll open it, but you're going to take the fucking route that we say, okay? Not only that, but it better be the type of ships that we say. So then again, it goes on to say, entry into the Strait will be from the north of Larak Island, and exit from the Strait will be from the south of Larak. And in this way, the Strait of Hormuz will be fully transferred to Iran's territorial waters. Okay, this is just showing who's big dog in this. Again, this is just that's what it says to me. This is the Iranian big dick in Donald Trump right here. Okay. Yes. Okay, we'll agree to this. You told we made you jump as far as telling Israel what to do. Now we're going to make you jump again by telling you where these ships can go through the strait and who ultimately is going to control this son of a bitch. And it's going to be the fucking Iranians. It's going to be us, is what they're saying here, right? So it goes on to say here that that the Hormuz will be fully transferred to Iran's territorial waters. This is an historic, unprecedented, and an enduring change in the Persian Gulf, ensuring Iran's sovereignty over the strait forever. In this matter, Iran is in fact carrying out an unprecedented rerouting operation in the strait. The second condition, which is also mentioned in the foreign minister's tweet, is that only commercial ships will have the right to pass through the strait. The determination of which ships are commercial will be up to the enemy. Excuse me, am I reading that correctly? Commercial will be up to Iran, and this will naturally exclude any vessels with connections to the enemy. Again, who is the enemy? That's what we need to determine. Doesn't seem like Donald Trump is too eager to determine who that is or what ships will in fact be allowed to pass. I haven't heard any reporting that this overwhelming amount of ships have already gone through the strait. To the contrary, I've heard that a lot of these companies are still very kind of wary and leery of sending their ships through the strait. Nobody wants to be kind of that first one to test the waters, I guess. But it goes on here to say that passing commercial vessels will also be required to pay Iran's tolls for security provision. Again, showing control, showing ownership, showing power, showing the leverage that they have. The third condition is that the passage will be carried out in coordination with Iran's forces, responsible for navigation in the strait, namely the IRGC Navy. Does this sound like control in any way by Donald Trump? Does this sound like control in any way by the United States? Just asking. You guys let me know. Considering all these conditions together, passage through the strait will be limited, subject to toll payments, and managed by Iran. And this is precisely what Iran has been pursuing since the beginning of the war and is now imposing on America. Again, showing what is a clear victory, propaganda victory at the very least, if not an overwhelming military victory, considering the losses that have incurred, the losses that they've had to take, the lack of Navy they even fucking have. You can see how the delusion comes into play. Like, what extent to a Navy do they have that will be able to kind of hold the strait or hold their control? So again, you can see the delusions on both sides here. But more so, I think, on the United States side, who is, again, Donald Trump trying to pat himself on the back, trying to give himself this fucking credit for, again, not even solving a problem that he created himself. We're in a worse off position than we were after the problem that he created himself. And again, there is in no way the control that he says that he has over the problem that he created himself. It's fucking like, what is happening? We are in the twilight zone, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the fucking twilight zone, right? Let's just see, because I think there was a few more. I don't even think he was done as far as that was concerned. So he says, Iran has agreed to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. Never seen that. Never saw that being reported. Never saw that said anywhere. And then he goes on here. I think this is one of the last ones, and I'll do a refresh just to see. He says the failing New York Times, fake news CNN, and others don't know what to do. They are desperately looking for a reason to criticize President Trump on the Iran situation, but just can't find it. No, we can't find We can't find a metric that we're worse off now than we were just fucking 50 or so days ago. No, there's not one that we could think of at this point. And again, he's trying to hang his hat on the stock market that has jumped up. He's trying to hang his hat on the oil prices that have seen a decline. And again, we've also seen that before. And this is just another way for Donald Trump to, to engage in market manipulation. Right, the more he tries to make it seem like everything's A-okay and he's come out on top, the better the markets will feel, the more the markets will ease, right? The more he says that shipping is going to flow fucking out of control through the Strait of Hormuz, the more that these oil companies will say, okay, things are looking up, maybe they'll lower the price, right? So that's what he's hoping for. This is just another blatant fucking piece of market manipulation by Donald Trump. And at the same time, he's giving Iran everything they want and have to, in order to have to do that. Like, you can see the pressure that's being put on Donald Trump here. Like, it's really starting to becoming, pretty evident as far as what he's calling a victory. Like, we've gone from like fucking total and complete, capitulation by the Iranians. Nothing less would be fucking afforded to them. We want to see, the Iranian regime be overthrown by the people of the government. And then it was, it kind of filtered down into different, okay, we just want to eliminate their missiles and drones. And then it was nuclear, even though we eradicated their nuclear capabilities, 6 or 8 months ago. So all of it's been kind of erratic and gone downhill very quickly as far as like the goals or intent, by the United States side. But this is like each time he comes out with another one of these like erratic statements that, again, is not kind of landed in reality. The other side hasn't agreed to. Fucking Israel, our own, supposed allies in this situation. And I use that term very fucking loosely, and I hope you recognize that if anybody that's watched the show for long enough. But again, even to that extent, he can't control anything. Like, he has no ability to control this, and he's just doing whatever he possibly can to try to just throw the spaghetti at the wall. Hopefully a couple noodles stick as far as something he can, like, claim victory in. And it's just not coming to fruition. It's just really not, because everybody recognizes now that Donald Trump has just made not only the Middle East less stable, more destabilized, but also now this new regime that's in place in Iran is coming in now, having and holding and wielding vastly more power than the last regime was, right? And they were engaged in peace talks. They were engaged in, talks with the United States, as this kind of war was enacted. And look at where we are now. Right, we're having to kind of give up every part of the deal. We're going to give them, the ability to toll ships. The ships have to go through their designated route, right? They have to tell them whose fucking ship they're flying, what flag they're flying under, where they come from, what they're carrying. Doesn't seem like control by the United States. Doesn't seem like overwhelming victory by the United States. Seem like it's victory for the Iranians, in my estimation. But again, you guys let me know what you think. Let's just do a quick refresh, see if there's anything that we missed as far as this demented old tool is considered. Let's see here. Anything here? No, so just the flailing New York Times was the last one he put out there. So we'll move on. But yeah, so we can see here that, again, not basically anything that Trump was saying was based in reality. Not only that, but there was this one as well that just makes them look even worse. Remember and this is right in line with what JD Vance was saying as far as Lebanon not being part of the deal, which again seemingly came to be the biggest part of the deal, something that absolutely needed to be agreed upon before any of these talks moved forward, before anything with the Strait of Hormuz went forward. And that's why Donald Trump and the United States government had to react the way that they reacted. But here's I forget when this was exactly, obviously around the same time that JD Vance said it, but here's again Caroline Leavitt having to go out and lie to everybody about Lebanon not being part of this deal.
Good to see all of you here today.
Would President Trump like to see Lebanon included in this peace deal? Because as you know, there have been increased Israeli strikes on Lebanon today with dozens of casualties there.
Sure. Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire. That has been relayed to all parties involved in the ceasefire. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu put out a statement last night in support of the ceasefire, in support of the United States' efforts, and he's also assured the president they'll continue to be a helpful partner throughout the course of the next 2 weeks.
Is there any?
Again, that's them saying in no way, shape, or form is Lebanon part of the ceasefire. There's no way the United States ever going to capitulate and going to agree to the 10-point plan that was presented to us by the Iranians. Again, a regime that we say has been completely wiped out, a military that has been completely wiped out, a country that couldn't possibly defend itself if it wanted to. But now, again, we're agreeing and giving them everything that they fucking want. So you guys tell me, is this a good thing? Is this coming out looking like a victory for the United States? Not in my estimation. Not in fucking my estimation. Because again, everything that the president is seemingly saying online is not being backed up by the other side. Anything that he's trying to come across and portray as a victory is not lining up with what we're seeing in reality, right? Seemingly the power, the control, the leverage lies with Iran, continues to lie with Iran. They continue to say, hey, we need this to happen, and Donald Trump needs to make that happen before the talks take place, before the fucking Strait is opened. And even when it's opened, it's going to be on our terms. It's going to be on our fucking deal, okay? Then again, not seemingly a victory for the United States by any regard. But we go on here because there's a few other portions of this. Here's this clip here. I just want to see if there's kind of any other details that have come out. I know everything's changing kind of really rapidly. Everything's kind of progressing really rapidly. So, bear with me as we try to kind of cover these news sources and kind of clips and articles that are coming out. And again, the statements that are being made so we can try to assess the situation, to try to break down the lies, the propaganda, what's real, what's not real. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you to, the fantastic chat here at Blunt Politics. You guys are fantastic. Thank you to all the sparklers that have come over. Thank you to everybody that comes over from all of the different programs that you guys watch, all of the different accounts that you follow and support. I really do appreciate your insight. I really appreciate your aggression and you guys staying involved in all of this information. So let's just see here. This is a quick CNN article clip, I should say, just talking about the Strait of Hormuz being open, what that details, the different rhetoric going back and forth. And again, this the $20 billion deal that Donald Trump says absolutely isn't going to happen. No money will exchange hands, Donald Trump says, but $20 billion seems to be at least on the table as far as the reporting is concerned. So let's see if we can dive into this. Hit that like button. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, guys. By the time that midterms come around, that would be a huge goal for us. That would give us the power and the weight behind our punches to continue to hammer away at the GOP. Again, at anybody that's going against any of the policies, the platforms, and the things that we believe in. I don't give a fuck what side you're on. I don't care about how much power you have or how rich you are. You're going to get called out on this channel. So if you guys agree with that, if that's something that you guys like seeing, if you like hearing what you're hearing, if you like watching what you're watching, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. All right. And again, let's just see if we can get any more details as far as this ridiculous geopolitical situation we have now found ourselves in is concerned.
The Iranian foreign minister on X says that the Strait of Hormuz is open for all commercial vessels. We're just learning this right now. Let me read where we are getting this from X. The foreign minister saying, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial.
Again, just the ridiculousness that we have to get our information now off of fucking Twitter. Right. You know what I mean? And I know to a certain extent, that's been a thing. But now to have like the breaking news, the CNN breaking news, literally having to read her cell phone off the fucking Twitter feed to get all the information or any information coming from the Iranian side or, what fucking people in Donald Trump's cabinet are saying, just goes to show you the ridiculousness of the timeline that we're in. Just a little bit, just a little example.
Vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire on coordinated routes as already announced by ports and maritime organizations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. But this is a huge announcement coming from the Iranian foreign minister about what has become a central part of the negotiation, getting the Strait of Hormuz open and safely. And so we're going to bring you much more as we get this in, literally coming in as we're talking about. As we are getting this, we also have a new report that claims that the United States is also considering a $20 billion deal that would help to end the conflict. This is a report from Axios, co-written also by CNN political and global affairs analyst Barack Ravid. Let me read a quote from this reporting now coming in. The U.S.
and again, it says here, Scoop, and this is an Axios reporting, Barack Ravid and Mark Caputo. Scoop, U.S. considers $20 billion cash for uranium deal with Iran. So again, as Donald Trump says that, Iran has agreed to give up their nuclear dust that the B-2 bombers left behind, as he put it. This is basically just telling us that they're not agreeing to that. They basically have to buy their way into this deal. If in fact this even is a thing. And again, take everything you're hearing here with a grain of salt, all this reporting with a grain of salt. That's just what you have to fucking do nowadays until it's confirmed, until like something actually takes place and it happens in reality. It's tough to really know for sure who's telling the truth, what's actually going to happen. We just try to do the best here to give you all the information that's out there, let you guys, soak that in, and then we can come to some sort of conclusion when we get all of the information. And this goes on to say the U.S. and Iran are negotiating over a 3-page plan to end the war, with one element under discussion being that the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for the uranium, the enriched uranium, I believe it goes on to say there.
Iran are negotiating over a 3-page plan to end the war, with one element under discussion being that the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium. This according to 2 U.S. officials and 2 additional sources briefed on the talks. A lot of breaking news here. Let's get to Nick Robertson. He's in Islamabad on this breaking news first. Nick, what do you make of it?
Look, it seems to me we're getting some positive breakthroughs. The fact that the Iranian foreign...
I'm sorry, what's this guy? Is he doing this report from inside the fucking Rotary there? Like, what's going on? Can you get the guy out of the street so he can do a fucking news report? Like Christ's sakes, this guy conducting traffic as he's giving this news report?
Minister has said the Strait of Hormuz is open to all commercial vessels. Really seems to indicate that the talks that the Pakistani...
Here's the game, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the game. Here is the game right here. Right above my head, you will see the game that is being played by the Trump administration right now. And again, to a point that I was talking about earlier, and how both these sides are at some point delusional, right? The fact that Iran thinks that they could continue without, getting the money that they had or need for the oil that they were having to sell on the world market is a bit delusional. They were happy to say that they were, okay, not being affected by the closure, by the blockade blockade. Of course, that's fucking delusional. They're going to absolutely have to make some money. So again, both sides here are delusional to a point, but this is the fucking point right here. This is Donald Trump. This is the pressure being put on Donald Trump. This is the fucking the world markets reacting here, and Donald Trump trying to play his part as he's done several fucking times before this, and just trying to come out and say anything he possibly can to make sure that those prices come down, that people suspect that the Strait is completely and wide open with no stipulations, no control by the Iranians, and that's just not what we're hearing. Okay, that's just not what we're seeing. Of course, you see the markets react based on rhetoric, based on announcements. Of course, this can rebound or this can react the opposite way as well, just as quickly if the Iranians decide to, again, affect some sort of change, affect some sort of control over the Strait, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Again, if they see that the United States is, not effectively, dissolving their blockade, they can take that as being against the negotiations, being against the ceasefire. That will open up escalation as well. And of course, the United States can do the same thing if they talk about anything that the Iranians are doing as far as being against the ceasefire. Like, you can see how, like, on a knife's edge this still is, right? As kind of joyful and kind of, the applause is being given by the Republicans to Donald Trump for such an overwhelming fucking victory here. You can see that we're still on a knife's edge. Like, this still has the ability to kick off. This still has the ability at every single one of these, like, sticking points to falter, right? The more pots that are at play, the more military pieces that are at play, the more people trying to negotiate, just kind of adds in the ability for miscommunication or conflict. So again, this is by no means an ended situation, and by no means we're out of the danger zone by any guide, by any stretch, by any stretch of the imagination here. Put this back on, because again, that's just, I mean, it's pretty clear what Trump is trying to again affect as far as reactions from the market when he continuously tries to say, "Oh, this is over. It's overwhelming victory. They have no fucking military left. We have the Strait. It's blockaded, even though it was blockaded and closed before." Like, this is him just trying to again affect the markets, affect the lessen the pressure on himself, lessen the pressure on the people in his administration. And that's exactly what he seemed to do so far.
Mediators are having, and they're going into their third day of talks in Tehran right now, are beginning to bear some fruit. Sources I've been speaking to involved in all of this are sounding and looking very positive about where the talks are at the moment. Of course, I'm not getting an indication of what other hurdles there may be to overcome, but it has been one of the things that Iran has wanted, one of those points. They want assets unfrozen.
But it is one of the points that Iran wanted. Again, that seems to be the through line here, right? That seems to be kind of the thing that we've seen the most is whatever Iran wants, seemingly they get, right? They wanted and said that they could control the Strait of Hormuz. They got control and did control and do control the Strait of Hormuz, right? They wanted fucking Lebanon to be part of the ceasefire deal. Donald Trump had to make that happen. So it seems like anything that they want, not everything or anything that they want, but a lot of the big talking points, a lot of the big sticking points here are having to be capitulated to by the United States, by Israel, in order to have these, meager fucking wins, these meager changes even take place. And again, if we take this situation on the whole and look at it where we were just 8 weeks ago and where we are today, there is no fucking metric that you could show me that we are better off. None. We don't have, a more stable Middle East. We don't have a more peaceful Iranian regime. We don't have lower gas prices. We don't have more control over the Strait. We don't have a free and open Strait. We don't have clear international waters. We don't have anything that, again, Donald Trump was saying that we were trying to get or would get from this war. Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. It's been detrimental. It's been fucking disruptive, and it's been really, really impactful and effective in a negative way for the United States, for Japan, for the Asian markets, for the European markets. Again, there were some reports out there that some of the countries out there, and I forget exactly which ones they said, I believe it was in the Asian market, were paying somewhere near $230 a barrel for oil. So again, as we kind of, are complaining about the $100, the $110, the $120 barrel of oil, like these fucking, like there's other countries out there that are really getting pegged by this shit, right? So again, that goes on, and we'll talk about this. Let me see. Should we play I'll play another minute of this because I want to see if there's anything else coming out of the, the insights that he's getting from his inside sources.
They want to see sanctions lifted. They want money for war reparations and damages. We've been talking here about billions upon billions of dollars. Last weekend at the talks, the Iranians said they'd asked the United States for $8 billion in unfrozen assets. At the time in the talks last Saturday and Sunday, the White House knocked down the suggestion Iran was going to get that. But it's always been part of Iran's core demands. Iran's now lifted, it seems, their blockade, their own blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. Is that in exchange for money? Are they expecting the money to come? But what the...
And again, this must be, if I'm not mistaken, I'm kind of just by the way he's talking about it, doesn't seem like he's actually seen. So this might have been in earlier reporting before kind of the statements coming out from the Iranian side were being put out, because it doesn't seem like he's talking about this free and open strait. That's not what we're hearing. We're hearing the stipulations from the Iranian side. And again, I'll put it on the screen again in case anybody's just joining us. Again, these are the Iranian conditions for the ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Only commercial vessels, no military ships, no cargo linked to hostile countries. What are hostile countries? That's not stipulated. Ships must be, ships must use routes designated by Iran. All transit must be coordinated with Iranian authorities. Who controls the strait? Is that open? Is that free passage? No. That's fucking Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz. How else can you sell that to me? I don't really know. And then that brings up this aspect. Remember when we've been talking about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait? And let me just see here. I'll throw this on the screen. Do this just in case, people have kind of picked up this show, more recently since we've been talking about this. I'll throw this on the screen as well. Let me see here. Bear with me just a second as I bring up the old Google Earth aspect. And we'll go into right here, zoom in. And I just want to show you guys this, just in case, like I said, anybody's not completely up to speed on what the Bab el-Mandeb Strait is. So as we zoom in here, you can see. So we're looking at the, the Strait of Hormuz is here. Obviously, we got Iran on the top, the UAE, Bahrain, Oman down here on the south. But if you go down here and we look just to where Yemen is, Eritrea, Djibouti, right? This is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait right here. And again, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait is under the control of, or could be potentially under the control of, the Iranian proxies known as the Houthis out of Yemen, right? So again, if they were to affect control over this geographical spot, in which probably wouldn't be that hard to do, considering I think it's even smaller in passage than the Strait of Hormuz is. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I do believe, at least in width and length, it is a lot smaller than the Strait of Hormuz. So again, wouldn't be that difficult. I think they've shown their ability to do it in the past, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But some 12% of global shipping comes out of this, right? And that is just a piece, a little chunk of the shipping that comes out of this. And again, the reason it is so important is because if we go down just here on the Red Sea, and then we scroll in here, you guys will notice something very vital that needs to be used. And this is the Suez Canal, ladies and gentlemen, the Suez Canal. Again, one of the most vital pieces of waterway on planet Earth right here, which again allows these shipping companies and trade companies to, again, not have to go through or around the Horn of Africa, which is not only dangerous, but also adds some 18 to 20 days onto travel, thus adding to the cost, thus adding to the price of whatever goods they're carrying at the end of the day. So again, as we talk about statements like this, and again, this is from Dolphin Iran, the same account that we talked about. What was the other? Yeah, this one, the one that seemed to have the good insight into what the Iranian regime was talking about as far as their conditions for the Strait of Hormuz. So this is another post by that same account talking about, starting from noon tomorrow, the initial steps to block the Bab el-Mandeb Strait will be taken. Okay, and that's today. So April 17th today. And I think this was kind of in response to the United States talking about their blockade still being in place, which again, Iran has said time and time again that they would deem as being a violation of the agreement, a violation of the ceasefire, and again, we'll bring on certain escalations, we'll bring on certain retaliations. So again, just showing you how kind of at a knife edge this is. And it goes on to say here, here's another one. This is from Sayed Mohammed Marendi, part of the foreign ministry, if I'm not mistaken, if not just really closely associated. One of the commanders of the resistance has spoken of a serious warning issued by borderless warriors borderless warriors, as I take it, in my opinion, relates to like Houthis, the Iranian proxies, the people fighting on behalf of Iran, but not inside of their borders. That's kind of how I take that. So again, especially as it pertains to the Bab el-Mandeb. So to all vessels in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, he said that starting tomorrow afternoon, those intending to cross the Bab el-Mandeb must be careful of threats from all sides. And again, whether or not we've seen that kind of affected or initiated, or again, that's just kind of threats telling you, hey, this is what we're looking at as far as the next step. So be careful what you do with the blockade. Be careful how you guys fucking play along with Israel and allowing them to strike into Lebanon, because if they continue to do that, then we have the ability to do this, right? So if you thought the fucking Strait of Hormuz was a problem, wait till you get a load of fucking both straits being closed in that geographical area, in which I don't even know what the total percentage of all shipping goes through. I mean, we talk about the percentage of oil trade that goes through the Strait of Hormuz, and again, the 12% of global shipping that goes through the Bab el-Mandeb. We're talking about a huge fucking portion of the goods and necessities that people around the world need to get. You know what I mean? So just thinking about the impact and effect that that could have. And I don't believe that's the only one either. Let me see here. This one was by Galabaf. Let me see if that was the right one or if it's this one. There's so many that I put up on here. It's hard to keep track of them all. I think I had one here. Let me see. I'll put this on your screen because I know Galabaf sometimes has some statements. Let's just see and check into him, see what he's been putting on the old the old Twitter shit social account here. So April 15th. So he hasn't said much as far as I could say. It looks like, as far as I could see, it looks like 23 hours ago. As I said last night, the ceasefire was nothing but a result of Hezbollah's steadfastness in the unity of the axis of resistance, and we will deal with this ceasefire with caution and will remain together until the full realization of victory. I thank the mediating efforts of the state of Pakistan and General Asim for endorsing the ceasefire. We are true to our pledge. Again, doesn't seem like a country that is beaten, is defeated, right? That is capitulating, or seems it in any way weakening on the negotiating table, at the negotiating table. Seems like they have and are feeling all the fucking vibes right now. They're getting all the feels as far as coming out of this victorious and having more power. And again, having the president of the United States have to kind of bow down to their demands as far as getting these straight open. You know what I mean? So I do believe that there was even more put out there. I forget at this point in time. Again, there's so much trying to be reported now and so much that I had kind of put up there. I think there was even more talk about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, but at this point in time, I am lost for who was saying it. So my apologies. But that is kind of, again, the inconsistent updates that we've been getting on what is taking place with the Strait of Hormuz, what Donald Trump is reporting, the Iranians are reporting, what different news sites are reporting as well. But there's a bunch else that we have to get into as well. There's this that we were talking about, as far as the situations with the U.S. sailors that are in the vicinity now. This is by Clash Report as well. U.S. sailors on the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier are reporting poor quality food in small portions during a long deployment near Iran. Because of an extended operations and strained supplies, crews are relying on limited resupply at sea, leading to rationing and lower morale. Families say sailors are often hungry, and mail disruptions mean they can't send extra food or supplies. And this is a picture here, and I'll get out of the way so you can see this fine 7-course meal, this fine 5-star accommodation that our fucking soldiers and sailors are getting over in the Middle East as they're on, long-term deployment because they're being yielded and wielded as Donald Trump's political weapons. This is the fucking slop that they're getting. Again, because of the strain put on the supply lines, because of the strain put on them, because of the amount of time they've been out there deployed, and again, because of the lack of leadership, the lack of care for anything that goes on as far as the soldiers on the front lines are concerned, that's exactly what they're dealing with. There's been ample reports as far as this is concerned, too. Let me see here. I think there was more along these lines. Here's another one. Picturing cookies, deodorant, socks. Iran war puts military packages in limbo. This is basically just some fucking slop and a couple tortillas that they got. Iran's Galabaf. This is what we said, as I said last night. We just read that one. Pakistan's Army Chief and Munir with the president. So again, just seeing if there's anything newly reported. The U.S. has quietly warned some European allies to... Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, too, guys. The U.S. has quietly warned some European allies to expect delays in weapons deliveries because the Iran war is draining U.S. stockpiles. The Pentagon is prioritizing its own needs in ongoing operations. Again, just showing you the the problems that we could be facing. Again, if this were to kick off again, if this were to persist and continue for a long period of time, we're already starting to see kind of the effects of a limited stockpile, or again, the stockpile is dwindling to a level where it becomes kind of red, as it were, where you have to start being concerned about it. Israel-Lebanon ceasefire, and we'll go on here. Let's see if there's anything else that we have to talk about. This is Troy Nell saying that Donald Trump is the second coming. You guys see this one?
I think he's.
Check this.
I believe that Donald Trump is better than sliced bread. I think he's almost the second coming, in my humble opinion. I think
he's better than sliced bread, and he's the second coming, in my opinion. Couldn't be more tone deaf. Couldn't have picked a worse time to say that, I don't think, considering again the blowback, the pushback that Donald Trump has been receiving from his post where he depicted himself as Jesus Christ. Let me see here. Western intelligence says Iran blunted the impact of U.S.-Israeli strikes through people who were planning. Yeah, these were the pictures coming from on board. I saw you guys saying, "What the hell is that?" Looks like some fucking slop meat. I don't know. Looks like some rope or something. I don't even know what the hell you'd call that, but shredded meat in a single folded tortilla is what the meal on board the USS Tripoli amphibious assault ship. So not just the USS Abraham Lincoln, but seems to be a consistent theme on what they're getting served basically on any of these platforms that they're on now. U.S. intelligence says China considered giving Iran advanced radar systems early in its conflict with the U.S. and Israel. Again, we already know about the extent in which they were using the capabilities and help of the Chinese to make sure that they targeted U.S. sites, U.S. planes, and U.S. bases. Let's see. This is Donald Trump speaking at some ridiculous fucking thing here. We don't have to dive into that, though. I don't think he covered too much of that anyway. All right, let's see if we can go on to the next story here, which is, again, more of these ongoing. You guys are liking them. I know you guys are liking them, but we got more to talk about. It looks like another one of these Lego posts that we got to fucking pull up here. Again, Lego Bang is just going crazy. A new Lego video ruthlessly destroys Pete Hegseth, I guess. And again, I didn't check into it, didn't dive into it, wanted to catch up to it with you. Going after Pete Hegseth. Anytime the Legos are going after Pete Hegseth, I want to make sure that we dive into it and we take a look. So again, whether or not, look at it, he's already holding if this is Pete, already got him with rum in his hand. This might be a good one. All right, this is, again, new Lego drop. Iran Lego drop, destroying Pete Hegseth. Let's see what they get into in this one.
Well, what shall we do with the drunken Hegseth? What shall we do with the drunken Hegseth?
What should we do with the drunken Hegseth? Oh, Jesus Christ. I swear they watch some of our podcasts. I swear whoever's creating these Lego videos watch some of our podcasts and know exactly what to hammer away at, what to call out. It's fucking great.
What shall we do with the drunken Hegseth? Early in the morning, way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises, early in the morning. He was drinking on the Foxette before the showtime. He was drinking on the Foxette.
He was drinking on the Fox before the showtime. Again, directly relating to the reporting from the people at Fox News that worked with Pete Hegseth, right? Saying that he showed up fucking sometimes stinking drunk, stinking like alcohol, glassy eyes, bloodshot eyes from the night before, if not the morning of. So again, spot on, no notes.
Before the showtime, he was drinking on the Foxette before the showtime. Early in the morning, carried out the strip club in his uniform. Carried out the strip club in his uniform.
Fuck me. They're killing him. They are killing him. I'd like to report a murder. I'd like to report fucking a deceased person here. Pete Hegseth has been officially eliminated as Lego form. He was carried out of the strip club in his uniform. Fuck.
Strip club in his uniform. Carried out the strip club in his uniform. Early in the morning. Hi.
Fuck, hey, the Dropkick Murphys have got to love this one, right? This has got to be sent to the Dropkick Murphys. Dropkick, Ken, if you're watching, fucking, you got to play this one at the next show. It'll fit right in.
He denied all the misconduct at the hearing. He denied all the misconduct at the hearings. He denied all the misconduct at the hearings. Early in the morning, look at Pulp Fiction as Ezekiel 25/7.
No, did they just say quoting Pulp Fiction as Ezekiel? No, they did not already put that into a fucking video. How did they get that in there so quick? Is that what they just said? Did you guys? I mean, I'm sure you guys have probably seen the clip already. We played it on the show, but in case you didn't, Pete Hegseth was famously dragged through the mud for quoting a Bible passage that, in fact, was not a Bible passage, but did in fact come from Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction, and the Legos are already talking about it.
He denied all the misconduct at the hearings. He denied all the misconduct at the hearings early in the morning. Crooked Pulp Fiction as Ezekiel 25:17. Quoted Pulp Fiction as Ezekiel 25:17. Quoted Pulp Fiction as Ezekiel 25:17. Early in the morning. Hey!
Holy shit.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides. The path of...
It's a drunken Pete Hegseth getting put in the brig. You can see it's labeled the brig.
The righteous man is beset on all sides. Early in the morning, my call sign is Sandy One, not the Lord up above. My call sign is Sandy One, not the Lord up above. My call sign is Sandy One, not the Lord up above. Early in the morning, now he's running the Department of War. Now he's running the Department of War. Now he's running the Department of War. Early in the morning. What shall we do with a drunken Hegseth? What shall we do with a drunken Hegseth? What shall we do with a drunken Hegseth? Early in the morning. Put him in the brig till he finds the real Bible. Early in the morning.
I fucking love it. I love it. They're just too good. They are just too good. I'm telling you, if they weren't so like on point, right? If they weren't so factual, like it wouldn't have as much sway, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't have the pull that it does if it wasn't pertaining to like actual fucking news stories, things that we know about Pete Hegseth, things that we know about Melania, things that we know about Trump and Epstein. Like they just, it's not just like random shit trying to make fun of like their inability to conduct a war. It's like fucking, it's going hard and deep, like detailed. So again, credit where credit is due. Fucking he quoted Pulp Fiction, Ezekiel 25:7. They got it in there. That's fucking crazy. That is crazy. But shout out to, again, whoever's throwing that out there. Whoever's throwing that out there. Oh, this was the other one. Shit. This is the other one that I wanted to throw on. Not Legos, but another one of these reports as far as the stipulations were concerned. Let me see. I'll throw this one on there. This is from the Kobisi letter. Breaking leaders of Gulf and European countries believe that a peace deal between U.S. and Iran will take 6 months to be reached, per Bloomberg, right? So again, talking about this as like an overwhelming victory. Details include Gulf and European leaders are urging the U.S. and Iran to extend their ceasefire to cover that time frame. Leaders want the Strait of Hormuz opened immediately and are warning in private that a global food crisis may develop if that does not happen by next month. Gulf states believe that Iran is looking to build a nuclear weapon, and that has not changed amid the Iran war. Again, a ridiculousness. Thus, they think the peace deal should ban Iran from enriching uranium and having long-range ballistic missiles. Gulf leaders are mostly against resuming fighting. Mostly against. So again, these stipulations and the different bits of rhetoric that are coming from the different world leaders in different parts of the fucking planet now, it's like you're going to have to piece these all together. But the fact that we're now talking about the deal between the U.S. and Iran will take 6 months to be reached, again, doesn't bode well for oil prices, doesn't bode well for gas prices, doesn't bode well for, again, the hurt that has been put on the Asian markets or the European markets, depending on what takes place in those 6 months. So again, this is not looking like anything that's coming to, a conclusion, the conclusion that everybody would want it to come to anytime soon. But that's not going to stop Benny Johnson from trying to propagandize you people, okay? That's not going to stop Benny Johnson from trying to declare victory. As he says here, he did it, it's over. And again, what I want you guys to kind of, remember what we've covered so far in the show today, and then kind of try to recite to me what if we've read that details this as being over, as being, again, an overwhelming victory. And you can see here, looking like what Benny Johnson is even depicting is Donald Trump shaking hands with the Iranian leadership. Okay. Does this look like capitulation? Does this look like we've totally defeated the enemy? Or does this look like Donald Trump and the Iranian regime are skipping down some cornfield together holding hands? Okay. So again, I don't think it's the flex that Benny Johnson thinks it is. But again, he plays a copyright song that I can't play. How he gets permission to play these copyright songs? Listen.
Imagine how the world could be.
How does he get permission to play these songs? Okay, who's given Benny fucking Johnson permission to play their songs on his fucking bullshit propaganda fucking YouTube show? That's what I want to know. Or is he just outright stealing these and somehow getting around the guideline? I don't know. I'm not sure. But this is Benny Johnson trying to, again, tell us that it's all over. Everybody's a winner. Donald Trump is the most victorious military fucking leader in history. And look at what he's depicting here. Just running through the long grass. Donald Trump and the Iranian leader. Like, does he know what he's showing here? Does he know what this is looking like? I'm not sure he does. But again, I have to skip past it, or I'll just mute it while he's doing this so you can see the ridiculous AI that he comes up with. Look at it. Yep, skipping. Yeah, I'm skipping. Here you go. Yep, hey, give me a hug. Give me my 20 billion. Look at how fucking like, does he think that makes Donald Trump look tough? He's thinking he makes him look like an alpha man in that regard? I'm sorry. That's not what I'm saying. But here we go. Here's Benny Johnson somehow trying to pull, again, victory out of the jaws of defeat here.
You hate to brag. You hate to say that it was good to be a plan truster. And you hate to say we were right because we didn't light ourselves.
Because you weren't. Again, you can sit here and talk about everything that Donald Trump's put on Truth Social, but by what metric are we better off, right? By what metric are we gaining victory in this? By what metric is Iran fucking weaker? By what metric has anything been fulfilled to the way that Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth or fucking Dan Kane said it was going to be fulfilled? Anything. Gas prices, oil prices, anything right now. Does anybody actually suspect that it's going to go down, even if it does continue to go down to the price that it was just before this war was started? Because I doubt it. I'm sure these oil companies are probably loving the amount that the price has gone up and probably aren't going to be too quick to lower it, to the amount that it was just before this.
On fire, lose our minds, burn our MAGA hats, or throw ourselves out of a skyscraper window over the last couple of weeks when seemingly every person on planet Earth crashed out and lost their damn minds over.
Yes, it's an illegal, unconstitutional war that we engaged in, that we committed war crimes in, that again led us into a much worse situation than we were, again, just prior to the war took place. Seemingly handed over full control of the Strait of Hormuz to Iran. We still have to contend with the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, again, if Donald Trump decides to in any way violate the ceasefire, or again can't control Bibi Netanyahu in Israel and they violate the ceasefire, something that absolutely could kick back off at any fucking second here. So I'd be very careful here, Benny, on how you talk about the victory that's been achieved. I'll just have you know.
President Trump's risky gambit in Iran. And while there are plenty of things that I wish had gone a different way, at the very least, you can keep your head.
Wow, that's a really crazy way to say I wish our country didn't engage in war crimes. Some things that I wish didn't happen. Some things that I wish didn't go the way that they went. You mean the entire fucking thing? You're right. The amount that we spend on it, the amount of people that were killed, right? The amount of people still in danger, the amount that the American people have had to pay as far as, price increases on different goods and gas and energy costs and stuff like that. What is the good? What is the good to come out of this?
When everybody else is losing theirs, then you can, roll with the punches. And here's a punch that you should be excited to roll with. President Trump has just announced that Iran has opened the Strait of Hormuz. He called it the Strait of Iran.
I was going to say, you misspoke there. That's not what he put. That's not what he wrote on Truth Social. He called it the fucking Strait of Iran, which I think is hugely important, right? And again, as I said in the beginning of the show, in case you just joined us, is a huge propaganda win in and of itself for Iran, right? In and of itself for Iran, calling it the Strait of Iran, again, as much emphasis as Donald Trump puts on to what things are named, whether it be the fucking Trump Kennedy or the fucking Trump Tower or, whatever, we know all the bullshit that Donald Trump's associated with as far as naming things, the Gulf of America and all this nonsense. So for him to put it out there as the Strait of Iran is a big fuck up. And again, something that he corrected in the very next one by calling it the Strait of Hormuz again. Like I said, I'm sure somebody gave him a fucking kick in the shins under the table. Like, you dickhead, what are you doing? You can't call it the Strait of Iran. But Benny here, again, doesn't seem to recognize, or hasn't done the research as to what the Iranian side has been saying. Again, as far as the stipulations, as far as kind of like, what's going to take place or what will take place, as far as, again, the conditions on the Strait of Hormuz. I know we continue to show this, but I think it's very worth showing the continuance of these propagandists out there trying to, tell you that the Strait is fully and wide open and Donald Trump's a hero and he stopped a war that he started in the first place, so we should give him credit. I don't know how that works either. But this is the conditions. Again, I'll reiterate, only commercial vessels are permitted. No military ships or cargo linked to hostile countries. Does Benny know what hostile countries are listed? Like, what are the listed hostile countries? Because I don't know that yet. I don't think Donald Trump knows that yet. Benny Johnson damn sure doesn't know that yet. So, again, how we could say that the Strait is open, wide open, is beyond me, because that doesn't seem to be what I'm reading here. Ships must use routes designated by Iran. Does that say by Trump? Does that say by the United States? Does that say by, Israel or anybody that would be, kind of would allow Donald Trump to come out of this looking like he has control? No, that says fucking Iran, in case you can't read. All transit must be coordinated with, does that say the United States authorities, right? Does that say with the Pentagon? Does that say with the U.S. Navy? Looks to me like it says Iranian authorities, you dick fuck. Jesus Christ, these people. Like, unbelievable. It would have taken him 32 seconds, again, to pull up the fucking the X accounts that he's got a billion posted of. You know what I mean? He pulls up 37 tabs of Twitter every show. So we could apparently miss that one. Apparently some of the rhetoric and the stipulations by the Iranians is what Benny Johnson didn't get to see on Twitter. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Let me put his dumb face back on the screen.
Thank you, says Donald Trump on Truth Social. Is that true? Because Donald Trump has obviously blustered quite a bit on Truth Social. Well, let's go ahead and...
I'm sorry. You can't even... The guy that you've followed for all these years, the guy that you actively simped for fucking dramatically to get back into office the second time after all the shit that we went through in the first term, January 6th, the whole 9 yards, right? Now you're sitting here saying, can we even believe what he's putting on True Social? As you're about to read, again, I just, it's wild to me. Like, he doesn't even know. He's trying to, portray this as a victory while also saying, is this true? I don't know. Donald Trump said it, so we can't believe it, is basically what he just said. You know what I mean? Like, take it with a grain of salt, even though that's the guy that I'm doing propaganda for.
Check in with Iran's foreign minister. What does he have to say? This is Syed Abbas Araghchi. He says, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage of all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire, and the coordinated route is already announced in the ports of Maritime Organization in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran's foreign minister says that vessels may pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
I'm sorry, are you just not going to address the second part of that on the coordinated route as already announced by Ports of Maritime Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran? I know you read it, but it didn't seem to stick with you as far as being like, telling you who's controlling that. And again, these stipulations put into place and not just a fully free, open and clear passage through the Strait of Hormuz, which is, again, what he's trying to declare here. Like, does he not know what words mean? Because it seems to be just breezed past that whole second point there. On the coordinated route, as already announced by Ports and Maritime Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran. That doesn't say the U.S. Navy. That doesn't say the fucking U.S. Pentagon. That doesn't say Pete Degsprev or fucking Donald Trump. That says the Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So, again, as he's trying to throw this out there as huge victory, he's reading things that directly fly in the face of what he's saying.
It is completely open. We will not bomb or destroy anything. And, what does that mean now? Iran opens the Strait of Hormuz. Now it turns out that the S&P, which is already...
Whoa. Do you see what he just blew by? Did you guys see what he just blew by? What's the one right underneath this? It says right here, Kablisi says that U.S. is considering a $20 billion cash for uranium deal. Right here, just underneath. I'll get out of the way so you guys can see it. So just under Donald Trump's True Social post there, the very next tweet that he's going to skip over is talking about the $20 billion cash for uranium deal that has been reported by Axios. But watch him just fully skip over that and talk about the great gains the stock market has seen. Again, this is what propaganda is. If he cared about the facts, if he cared about giving you the fucking reality on the ground and what was actually coming from this and all the reporting surrounding it, he would just go down the line and report this stuff and say, hey, this is what you fucking can, come to your own conclusion. But here's the $20 billion cash for uranium story. Here's this story. Here's what they said and here's what they said, much like we did on the show here today. right? But that's not what he's doing. He's picking and choosing. He's saying, hey, let's not talk about the $20 billion. Let's just talk about the fact that, Donald Trump's announcing things that we can't even fucking know to believe, which is he already said in his own show here. We don't know if we can believe that. Is that real? Which is, again, mind-blowing for him to say for the guy that he's doing propaganda for. But again, I digress. He goes on here to fully skip over this $20 billion cash for uranium story. Check this out.
Hormuz.
Right in front of his screen. Literally in the middle of his screen right now. Quite literally where his mouse is. His mouse is on this story, right? Therefore, his eyes must be on this story. Do you think he's going to talk about it? Of course not.
Turns out that the S&P, which is already at record highs, skyrocketing, small cap futures, silver, gold, everything is up 3-4%, except for oil, which has now crashed through the
Yeah, go ahead. Just make it more clear that Donald Trump's involved in market manipulation. Go ahead. Just go ahead and show that he's under mass pressure in order to, again, stop this fucking bleeding that has happened since the start of this war. Basically just go into showing that everything he says is basically to manipulate the market so that either people can make money or that, people he doesn't like lose money or whatever plan, ploy he's got behind the scenes. But this is exactly what's taking place. Like the announcements and him trying to declare victory and the Strait's fully open. That's to make the markets react, make them think that this is all over. There's no fucking danger anymore. This isn't going to kick off. Everything's been agreed to. So you might as well go back to where you were. Right, that's what he's desperate to have happen, but doesn't seem to be, again, happening to the extent that he wishes.
Floor, thank you. Look at this.
I'm sorry, through the floor? Is that through the floor? Because we started at what, 50 or so, $55 per barrel? So it was 84. Is that actually through the floor? Like it's a dramatic decrease, right? No doubt about it. But the fact that we're still worse off than we were before this war started is, again, not registering to Benny Johnson all of a sudden, right? That's just not a thing that he can acknowledge anymore. Like all of a sudden $84.85 per barrel is the floor. I'm sure that I remember a time when we were at least $30 a barrel less than that, and that wasn't that long ago, Benny. So again, as far as this being the floor, it's just an asinine piece of propaganda for him to try to pull up to push off. You know what I mean?
Oil down to $83 a barrel, no end in sight. It will probably be at 40 by the end of the day. Oil price collapses as Iran announces the Strait of Hormuz is open to all. Stocks will surge, and yet another record at the opening bell. World War III and economic apocalypse deferred yet again. Next crisis, blue sky in total mourning. You can see here. Iran has declared the Strait of Hormuz is completely open for all commercial vessels.
Oh, yep.
During the ceasefire, crude oil is down to $81 a barrel. Brent is down to $90 a barrel, single biggest de-escalation signal since the war started. And you are even starting to see right here, vessels successfully pass. You can see there's been quite a buildup there, obviously, for good reason. And nobody can insure these boats because they don't know where the mines are. They don't know if they're going to get blown up. They don't know if the American blockade is.
Again, there's a Polymarket studio right in front of his screen right now. U.S. is reportedly considering releasing $20 billion in frozen Iran funds. Let's see if he talks about it.
Going to prevent them and turn them around. The American blockade did turn around dozens of ships. Well, there you go. Okay, so what is the deal? The U.S.-Iran deal is reportedly in its final phase.
Skipped right the fuck over it. Of course he's not going to talk about that. Why would he talk about that? That doesn't fit in with his agenda, guys. That's not going to fit in with his talking points. That's not going to fit in with the fact that, he's trying to portray Donald Trump as having like total and full control over the situation at this point, and everything's like back to normal. And this was, just a little speed bump, a little bump in the road, guys. Not a problem. Nothing to see here. But that doesn't fit along with his agenda. But he's just an absolute moron. He is just an absolute moron. And speaking of absolute morons, that brings us on to our next story. Because I wanted to see if we could dive through a couple of these things. Typically, these are pretty hilarious, right? They're pretty telling as far as the people that are still following Donald Trump, the people that will still show up to turning point events at this point in time, right? Knowing that everything that we know about Trump, the Epstein files, obviously, his inability to stop wars, his inability to lower prices about everything, all the promises that we know. Well, apparently there was a Trump and TPUSA event called the Build the Red Wall Rally, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know. But this is RSBN doing what they typically used to do at the Trump rallies and kind of going around the crowd, the people that are lined up in the hog pens, right? The people that are corralled in the fucking cow gates, waiting to get into this little fucking meeting, waiting to get into this little Nazi rally that they got going on. But again, I just want to see if we can dive into some of the delusions and just kind of make you guys feel better about yourselves, right? When you guys see like the people that are now left inside of this cult, when you see and hear like the delusions and like the fucking cringiness of the people that are still left in this cult, you're going to kind of feel better about yourselves. You are. You're going to be like, well, at least it's like this crew that's left. You know what I mean? Like it's down to this fucking like inbred, like ridiculous, demented crew that's left defending what Donald Trump is doing at least. So again, I just want to dive into a couple moments here where he's trying to question some of these people in the crowd. Typically, there's a couple funny moments to come from this. If not, we got one here from United 24 that was put out, I think, this morning. And this is saying Brevi secret ground drone factory somewhere in Ukraine. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I have been to this exact factory that will show coming up in that. So that's also pretty fucking crazy. So, all right, let me see if we can just dive into a couple moments of this. It may be stupid. Could be a couple funny moments. You never know. Let's see if we can check it out.
Okay, guys. So we'll start chanting. Let's chant Charlie, everybody, for Charlie Kirk. Charlie! 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 Charlie!
No. I told you the cringe alert, the cringe meter was going to be pegged. I didn't expect it to happen in the first 13 seconds, but I did tell you that the cringe meter would be pegged on this one, okay? And the fucking the ridiculously fucking like non-enthusiastic Charlie rant that they got going on here, it's just not doing it for anybody. There's about 13 people chanting it.
Charlie! 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 Charlie!
So, guys, there could be worse positions for you to be in today, okay? You could be stuck in this fucking cow line here with these morons chanting Charlie where nobody's enthusiastic about it. Nobody really gives you shit, apparently. Like, it could be worse. No matter where you are watching this show from today, it could be worse, and that's what I want to show you here.
Okay. Charlie! I love a good chant.
Problem is, I just don't think Charlie heard that. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that Charlie did not hear that chant. I'm just thinking. I'm just saying.
We are ready for President Trump later today. A hell of a lineup for Turning Point USA at this gorgeous church. Andrew, you've been here since 4 in the morning to see.
4 in the morning, you fucking putz. You absolute fucking putz with the Trump 2028 hat on, too. With his fucking, oh my God. What's he afraid he's going to get lost in line? He had to wear his bright vest? Or has he got some construction to do meanwhile while he's waiting? Did he just show up from work? Looks like he's got a Jesus shirt on too. Looks like Jesus is my savior shirt. Trump 2028. Been here since 4 a.m., people. Again. Oh.
And now we have the USA chant.
USA! 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 USA!
They can't even do that right. You guys can't get a fucking 3-letter chant right. Come on. Jesus Christ. Like, talk about the lowest of low IQ, the most gullible of gullible people, the dumbest son of a bitches left in this cult. You're looking at him.
USA! USA! USA!
Yeah, I don't know if that person's going to be welcomed. I'm not sure that this person's in the right line. I'm just going to say this, whoever this person is, I'm just thinking they're in the wrong place.
It is just after 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, but those who have been in line since 3, 4 in the morning, like Andrew, have the energy like Charlie Kirk. What does Charlie's legacy of Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Faith mean to you?
Well, I love that Charlie Kirk really stood for a faith-based, system, everything running on faith, because our country is based on "In God We Trust." And as Americans,
no, it's based off the separation of church and state. If you really want to know, definitely not that, but what are you going to do? And he goes on here. They interview about 47 fucking people.
Actually, right in Gilbert. So half an hour, 40-minute drive in. We came in bright and early at 4 a.m. waiting to see the president.
4 a.m. Fucking hell. Imagine doing that for this shit. Getting up at 4 a.m., throwing on your 47, your gold 47 hat, your best fucking button down to go stand in line for fucking the Build the Red Wall rally for Donald Trump in 2026. Like, Jesus Christ. Tell me you don't have a girlfriend without telling me you don't have a girlfriend.
today.
Have you been to an event before, and how involved are you?
I am not a robot. I've been here since 4 a.m. and I am very excited to see him. And it is the happiest moment of my life. I have my pin and my sticker on, and I got my best hat on, and I am not a robot. I've been here though. Please ask another question.
At Turning Point USA.
Yeah, so as far as events I've been to before, I went to a Trump rally in August last year in 2024. I left school an hour early at 1 p.m. to try and go. Got there, totally packed, filled up. The entire revenue. So we just
the entire revenue. Oh Jesus Christ! Not the entire venue. The entire revenue was filled up. Did you guys catch that one? And again, I told you this is going to make yourself. You're going to feel a lot better about yourself at the end of this clip. I can promise you. The entire revenue was filled up. Now, I'm just going to again throw myself out on a limb. And again, it's the Charlie Kirk event. So I'll stick my neck out one more time and say I'm guessing he was going for venue on that one.
They're totally packed, filled up. The entire revenue. So
yeah, the entire revenue of the entire thing was packed up. Fucking hell.
We just could not get
Yakov is hilarious. Fucking spot on, dude. Spot on. He said he left an hour early to go to the Trump rally. The kid should have stayed in fucking school. He would have been much better off with that extra hour of curriculum as opposed to, again, ditching it to go to the Trump rally where the entire revenue was filled. Every seat in that revenue was packed. Fucking hell. These motherfuckers. All good, moms. How are you, dear? Good to see you. Good to see you. No, all good. We're just checking up on some people that are making us feel good about ourselves, right? When we talk about like the dumbness of the people that are left in this cult, the dumbness of the people that still support MAGA and Donald Trump, like this is what we're talking about. That like, you know, again, they're going to be the most sycophantic of sycophants. They're going to be left at the end of the fucking road. You know, they're going to be left holding the stick. They're going to be ones fucking kind of holding the baton when Donald Trump officially kind of passes on from this universe. So this is what we're talking about. This is what we're looking at. We're just diving through a couple of these.
So unfortunately, couldn't see the president the first time, but it gave me a lot more hope in this country.
Wait, he left school an hour early and didn't even get to see the fucking rally? Oh, that's beautiful. So he missed out on both. He didn't get his education and he didn't get to see the rally. All right, let's just skip ahead here. Oh my God, what is this?
He endorsed Steve Hilton. Not only that, Charlie Kirk endorsed Steve Hilton as well. So people need to know what
Is that Abe Lincoln? I'm sorry. Is Abe Lincoln at this event? What the fuck is going on?
the value are, and people need to get up and get out to vote and vote for Steve Hilton to take California back from the California.
So many exciting campaigns, but being a
Take California back from the California. Jesus Christ. Oh, is that what they're talking about as far as the red wall? Is that what's going on? Is this like in California? Oh, no, it says it's in Phoenix. It says it's in Phoenix. I don't know. Maybe they just haven't one in Phoenix because they can't do it in California. Who the fuck knows at this point? Why I'm trying to rationalize and make sense of it, I don't know. But of course, these people are deluded, delusional, and fucking can't say the word that I wanted to say. I almost went back to 1997 on that one.
British American as he is, really fighting for Western civilization as his homeland.
How do they keep a straight face? How do we keep a straight face looking at what we're looking at here? I'm sorry. How do you do that? You got fucking Abe Lincoln looking at you really creepily from the side, right? We got a bunch of fucking, we got people in cowboy hats, right? We got this lady decked out in, I don't know what she's wearing here on the above my head. Looks like she's got fucking Elvis's, I don't know, jacket on or something. What is this rosy getup she's got going on? She got some sort of like weird glasses on as well. Like, how do you not break out into laughter seeing these people?
The UK is completely gone when it comes to free speech. And
yeah, the UK is gone. Not even there anymore. It's actually gone by the wayside with Portland. I think Portland and the UK are actually been relegated to somewhere. I'm not sure where they are. Yakov, where's Portland at this point? Let me know. And can you see can you see the UK from where you are? Let us know, because apparently the UK is gone. So we're gonna need to find that.
We're seeing with the Islamism in that city. Mr. President, you've been patient waiting to speak with us. Honest Abe, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get a cheer for the 16th?
Oh, enough with the fucking cheers, dude. Jesus Christ. Notice when it's cringy, okay? Notice when you fucking lost. Notice when the crowd ain't fucking having it, okay? Enough of these chants and the rants and the fucking speech. Like, get the fuck out of here. You couldn't get him to chant Charlie at a Turning Point USA event. You're not getting him to fucking do anything else that you want, okay? Let's just beat feet. Get on with the conversation with Honest Abe here.
President of the United States. And coming from...
They're all fucked. They're all fucked in the head. Every single one of them is a fucking demented fool. Let's give a round of applause for the president like he's real. Like he's real. Like he's there and he's real and he came to this event, and let's thank him for doing so. What?
Glen Ellen, Illinois, the western suburbs of Chicago. I wasn't too far from Springfield, where you were for a period of time as a lawyer and advocate. And you're
He's
right.
talking to him like he's real. He's like he's a real guy. Like he's a real guy. He's talking to him like he's real. Fucking hell.
Things really inspiring us, but those words at Gettysburg made a massive...
If he talks like he's in character, like if he does this interview like he's fucking Abe Lincoln, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose my shit.
difference. Tell us why you're here to support the 45th and 47th President of the United States.
We are so happy to have him back, after the first term. That's a blessing.
Was Abe Russian? Did Abe have a Russian streak? Did Abe move to Russia? Didn't recall Abe having a Russian. Was that a Russian accent? Am I picking up? I'm just Steph Russian Abe. You can't make it up. You fucking cannot make this up. Yes, I like very much to be Abe Lincoln. Very good. It's very good to be an Abe Lincoln. I love Abe. Very good Abe. Love him.
To be back, to do something for this country. Right. It's a man who cared for the country. It's a real patriot, he loved this country, and we saw the country start moving, economic, even morally, especially from the Charlie Kirk death. We saw the young generation coming to Christ, and it looks like, in my opinion, it's hard for the family, for two kids that they don't have a father. But I think through his death, American millions are turning to God and to Jesus Christ, millions and millions in America and all over the world.
Oh my Jesus Christ Almighty! What is happening to this? What is happening to people in this country? Honest to God. Honest Abe. What is that accent? I don't think it is Russian, to tell you the truth. I could be wrong on that one, but let me know if anybody... Yeah, Locara thinks I think German. It's tough to tell, actually. I thought it was Russian from the first couple words, but the more he talked, the less it sounded like it was Russian. I'm seeing if anybody else is picking up on it in the chat. It's tough to pick up on. I'm not sure. Jeff says, I didn't know Lincoln was Czechoslovakian. Bulgarian. It sounds somewhere in the region, right? It sounds somewhere in the region. I just can't pinpoint it. But again, just wild to see him dressed up like Abe Lincoln, talking like that. And again, talking about how a person with two kids in their family, I think he talked about, is better off now somehow with Donald Trump, again, with the price increases and everything. Again, the brutalization and the people ripped from their families' arms, been sent to different concentration camps around the world, concentration camps here in the United States, or just brutally shot in the streets of the United States. Again, seems like this guy needs to do a little bit more research. But let's see if we get one more and then we'll dive on.
Places to volunteer, American majority. Join your local Republican Women's Club.
What's a good one? Let's see if we can find a good one.
Republican women. Great. So get involved. Yeah. Get on it, committee. She's running for a precinct captain or chairperson.
The late great, his widow will be...
Facts. The truth tellers, right?
Oh, here we go. There's one.
Mayor, if we're purple, I'll be happy, but it's more like I'm like a blue state. But we'll see. This guy's working really hard in the elections too. Get him in. He's one of the guys that are really pumping out to get people out to vote. So, yeah.
And I'll ask, how is that, sir? How's it going? Just reaching out to people, really being on the ground as you see it now. April 17th. It's around the corner. November's going to happen, seemingly days from now.
Yes. Well, I'm a precinct captain, and I can tell you that the one weapon that we have this time we haven't really had is TP action. TP action is huge, and that's going to be a difference maker.
Isn't this guy a little too old for Turning Points? Am I crazy, or is this guy a little too old for the Turning Points crowd? I'm just going to say. He's got the Make America Healthy Great Again, Make America Healthy Again hat on, so I know he's a JFK fan, RFK fan, excuse me. But other than that, I really don't think there's too much else that we need to glean from this guy. He's about 87 years old. He's a captain for the fucking Turning Points USA committee. Good job, buddy. What have you been hearing on the ground? What have you been hearing from people? What are their responses? What's the rhetoric like? Coming from the people on the ground, talking about the promises that Donald Trump, again, promised them before he got into office and what they've seen since he got into office. The new wars, no foreign wars, costing, the energy costs will be gone down, 50% he said in the first couple days, obviously coming in and right away ending the brutal invasion, of Ukraine. None of those things came to fruition. So what are you hearing in this regard? Of course, he's not going to talk about it. He's more going to talk about the turning point. So I don't want to let him do any further propaganda as that's concerned, right? But again, I'd just dive onto this. I might even be able to get you guys out of here a couple minutes early today. If not, I apologize. But let's see if we can just dive onto this, because I think this is going to be a very pertinent video here. I've talked a lot about my trip to Ukraine. I've talked a lot about the fantastic people that I was not only lucky enough to go with, Ken Casey, Harry Dunn, the list continues, Walter, all the fantastic people, Colby, people that are in the chat, everybody have been fantastic. The people that I met on there, I'm just so fortunate to have met. But not only that, but the experience and the people that we got to meet there were so influential, right? We're such power players that we're now seeing them come to have their moment in the sun here. And not only that, but the stuff that we got to see as far as drones and what was being concocted and utilized and invented basically as we were there is now being utilized on the front. So it's pretty fucking cool to see. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw about 2 seconds of this and I thought something was very familiar, and I want to see if I can dive into it, you guys. And I do think that I can show you a portion of a video. I have to be very, 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 very fucking careful. So I was going to try to pull it in on the screen, but I don't think I'll take that risk. I'll see if I can just show you on my phone, just kind of showing you the similarities and kind of the evidence, I guess, as to where we were basically. So let's see if we can dive into this. Again, this is United 24, put out this morning, shaping the future of ground battles inside a Ukrainian secret ground drone factory. And again, this is another one of the places where it was heavily protected. A lot of NDAs going on. You couldn't have the location on your phone. Basically, it was like you were blindfolded, taken to these places. That's how serious they take this stuff, and for good fucking reason, obviously. So again, just to give you a little bit of insight before we play this, let's just check this out. United 24 dropping today about the ongoing battle in the ground drone factory that is being visited here.
We're in an undisclosed location, obviously, because it's a very sensitive site. We can't disclose either the number of unmanned ground drones that they produce per day nor per month.
So look at the walls, right? The first thing that I noticed was that looks really fucking familiar. That looks like someplace that I've seen before firsthand, right? And again, you can see already the secrecy of it. Can't tell you where he is. Can't tell you anything about the production numbers. Basically, it's fucking about as hush-hush as you could possibly get. And I'm surprised that they're even allowing this much coverage to come out, considering, again, the secrecy that was involved when we were there touring these facilities, getting kind of the inside scoops, the insights, and, kind of allowed to ask questions about what was going on. So
because it's also a secret. But as you can see, the chain production is booming, doesn't stop at all. And well, there's a good reason for that, because the front line at the moment needs these kind of drones due to, well, shortage of manpower, obviously.
In a war where any movements can get you killed by a drone, land robots now account for 90% of the Ukrainian army's logistics, according to the Guardian.
So you see that, right? And again, like I said, I got to be careful. Check this out. Let me see if I can play this. Pause. Make sure I zoom in as to not show anything. So this is from my own video that I took. There's nothing on the screen that I'm showing that isn't already shown by this video, but you can see what's on your screen there, right? So that's from my own video, right? So that is basically the exact same thing that this guy is sitting on while he's talking to you. Right, so this guy is basically sitting on that exact same thing, right? Check this out as it zooms out.
Ground drones that they produce per day nor per month, because it's also a secret. But
so he's now zoomed out there. You can see the tracked vehicles, right? Basically for extraction. They were kind of performing how much weight they could carry, obviously what they were being used for, what they were being utilized for. But if you take a look at the paint behind him, right? And I got to, like I said, be very, very careful on how I do this. See if there's one one kind of position that I could get where I'm not giving the game away here. Maddie's been on the show before, so I think I can show Maddie. All right, so I'll do this. Well, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. Bear with me just a second. I'm trying to make sure that this is all kosher. All right, so I'm going to show you this. I'll cover this portion of the screen because I have to. But if you can see the walls in the background. Look at the walls in the background. Look at the color and the walls in the background. That's Maddie. She's been on the show. She was the photographer for the trip. She's actually on one of these drones right now, kind of, demonstrating its power, demonstrating how it moves around and stuff like that. But, you can see that is the exact same fucking facility that we had the honor, the opportunity, whatever it was of getting to kind of, take a look at. It's wild to see that, these are now being utilized to this extent on the front lines and stuff.
You can see the chain production is booming, doesn't stop at all. And well, there's a good reason for that, because the front line at the moment needs these kind of drones due to, well, shortage of manpower, obviously.
In a war where any movements can get you killed by a drone, land robots now account for 90% of the Ukrainian army's logistics.
And these things were fucking rapid too. These things were not like, hey, just kind of trudging along the battlefield. Like, these things were pretty zooming. Like, you know what I mean? They were showing off like the 360s and the speed in a straight line and stuff like that. And these things were made to go. And again, you can see here in one point of this video where they're actually demonstrating this guy and this is at the end of it here. Let me see. I think there was actually a spot where he's in this. Yeah, right here. You can see this on the video. Check this out. So you can see like the size of it compared to him, kind of how useful it would be in extracting somebody that may be injured from the battlefield. If they could hop onto this, this carriage, if they can hop into this basket, then it would be obviously hugely beneficial to be able to get them and get them kind of moving either closer towards some help that they could get, closer towards some support, or again, all the way behind into the, the medical tent or the medical field or wherever they're kind of set up to take care of their soldiers. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to see that this is now being heavily utilized. Again, the same things that we had the opportunity to see months and months ago, just kind of being put into practice, and now seeing them out in the front lines, out being used and utilized is a pretty cool kind of progression to see. And just goes to show how unbelievable the work is that they're doing, and how consistent and how relevant it is to what's happening on the front lines on the battlefield. So again, just to dive into a couple more minutes of this, it's pretty incredible what they do with this. And again, they actually get to show the gentleman that we met, that runs this factory. I'll let them talk about it. I'll let them give the names and stuff. So I don't want to be the one to kind of step over the lines, but they give the information in this video. They talk about him, they show him and stuff like that. So it's nothing that isn't shown already in this video.
In a war where any movements can get you killed by a drone, land robots now account for 90% of the Ukrainian army's logistics, according to The Guardian. In January, Ukraine's armed forces carried out a record 7,000 ground drone operations, making these drones a key element in any operation.
These models can go to up to 14 kilometers per hour. It's the optimal speed.
I mean, that's a pretty good pace. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much that kind of goes down. I think we were told this when we were there, but again, everything was happening so fast. It says a payload up to 250 kilograms, 14 kilometers an hour, range of 40 to 50 kilometers. Again, depending on how much you put in there, how much weight it's carrying. But still, it's not like you're kind of, just being slowly walked off the battlefield. Like it's a good pace. Again, that they're kind of removing you from the danger zone, whatever danger zone you may be kind of finding yourself in.
For stability, they can go between 40 and 50 kilometers, depending on the charge, depending of the situation and environment, obviously around, and they can have a charge of like roughly 200, 250 kilos, which makes them ideal to bring logistics, to bring back soldiers who have been wounded, sometimes also dead soldiers, without.
And here they are in action. You know what I mean? Like, this is the fucking remarkable part to me, right? To see them from, from thought to being built, to put in production, to actually see them in use, to have video of them actually doing their job, right? That's the fucking progression that is, it's really, again, as dark a situation as it is to have to come up with, right? to have to, figure out a robot to come, extract some of your wounded soldiers from a battlefield. Obviously not the, the best situation to have to, utilize your knowledge for, obviously. But again, to see the progression and to see how it's helped, and to see that the things that they were putting into practice months ago are still being worked on, utilized, and perfected. Like, that's cool. Like, they didn't have to, it's not something that was scrapped. It wasn't a waste of time. The guy that is responsible for this is fucking so brilliant. I can't even put it into words. He's in this video too, so you'll get a chance to hear from him as well. But this guy that we met face to face, it was pretty fucking remarkable.
Endangering the life of other soldiers on the battlefield. And what's also interesting is that more and more Ukrainian soldiers tend to integrate them into their tactics, basically to hold positions against the Russian, especially with these models that are fitted with like Browning M2 machine gun 12.7.
And again, another aspect of this too, not just for extraction, but if you can, and they were outfitting these with different machine guns, different weapons platforms. You could turn these into something that you can hide in a bush, hide near a roadway. I mean, you can see the advantageous nature of having a bunch of vehicles like this for whatever they're good for whatever you can utilize them for. So again, that's kind of how the warfare has progressed. Like, these things are now being utilized, whether it's the report that we heard just the other day of the entirely drone operated action that was used to kind of eliminate the Russians from whatever base that they were in, or whatever kind of hole that they were in. No soldiers were put into harm's way. It was totally done by drones and robots. So again, to show you the progression of this is pretty substantial.
Automatically remote turrets.
UGVs don't just carry food and water to forward positions. They don't just evacuate.
There you go. There's some more video footage here of it even towing a little trailer behind it. So kind of doubling, kind of its capacity. I don't know if it could also put some in its own basket and continue to pull both of them out of there. That would kind of have to be, given to you as far as answers by the people that know more about it. But again, you can see here how it's being utilized on the front, Looks like this person was attacked by an FPV drone. You can see the scarring in the field. You can see the burnt grass there. Obviously was injured, was spotted by another drone, sent in the robot, hop on the back, extract you out of that position.
Isn't an option, whether because of payload weight, distance, or jamming. UGVs step in. They deliver aerial drones, spare components, batteries, and ammunition directly to troops who cannot be reached any other way.
I mean, again, the amount of uses for this is crazy. Again, so to be able to re-outfit people on the front lines, these drone crews that we've been taking a look at, the videos that have been detailing how these drone crews get along and survive on the front lines. Like, so in order to stop the risk of having a soldier having to run from their kind of dugout to wherever they have to go meet their supply lines and get, drones or get parts for drones or get, whatever it may be, battery charges or, generators, whatever they need to survive on the front lines. Instead of sending out a crew, instead of sending out a vehicle, instead of sending out soldiers that could be fucking at risk, obviously, with the use of FPV drones on the other side by the Russians, now we can send in these. Now we can send in, a robot that can take the position of somebody that was having to put themselves in harm's way. We can resupply, we can re-outfit those people on the fronts, the drone crews, and they can continue, their missions without having to put people in further harm's way.
If there is no ground logistics, if there is no resupply, and if there is no resupply, your FPV operators run out of drones. Your pilots are run out of batteries. The air stops working. So, in a way, UGVs are also the backbone that keeps everything else flying.
Through my experiences last month, our ground drone has been used mostly for logistics, because we are really under the enemy's threat.
There you go. His first-hand accounts, right? This is first-hand accounts from people on the front utilizing these machines, utilizing these drones, and talking about how they've been kind of, removed at least from that particular aspect of the danger. Whatever these kind of drones can utilize, whatever actions they can utilize, removes them from having to stick their neck out for that, that type of operation, that action, whatever needs to be, fulfilled. Gas, food, water, supplies, anything like that. So this is first-hand accounting from people that say, hey, this is absolutely beneficial. This is absolutely being utilized, and it's helping.
Ground drone, we couldn't have any food, any supplies for drone, any supplies for water, and I can say that I saw some of them evacuated our fellow soldiers from zero line and bring them to stabilization point. So they are really a big help. And thanks to this UGV, we can continue to fight.
So let's meet the guy responsible for that, because like I said, I know we're running out of time, but let's meet the gentleman responsible for this, okay?
Understand what needs to be built. You have to communicate with the military, with specific units.
This is Victor, okay? This is Victor, CEO and chief engineer of Brevi, okay? And this is one of the masterminds behind these ideas. This guy is one of the most brilliant people getting things done with less than you could possibly imagine, right? Like these are the buildings that I talk about that OSHA in the United States would come and shut down in a fucking heartbeat for different violations, whether it be the integrity of the building itself or lighting or, health hazards, whatever it may be. These people are fighting through it. They're using their brilliance and their intelligence to, again, to defeat the Russians on the battlefield in whatever way they can, whether that be logistically, militarily, with weaponry, with extractions, with infills, all of these things are being now utilized and thought about, and how we could keep our troops out of harm's way. So this is one of the masterminds behind this explicit action here.
And take part in missions. If you don't do that, you don't really understand what you're creating, because something may seem relevant to you, when in reality, it isn't.
In another room, the IT team creates the brain of the drone, the minuscule components without which the drone would just be a piece of metal. Every model is fitted with its own Starlink kit to ensure proper communication. Each component is carefully tested to withstand vibrations. When AI is fully integrated into robots, it will come from these offices.
I do think that in the near future, ground robotic systems may be able to operate autonomously. Not completely, not 100%, but they'll be able to significantly ease the operator's workload. And I believe that will happen relatively soon.
Oversized hoodies, edgy looks, and hip-hop blasting in the background. The assembly line looks...
It's literally exactly the situation that we went into, too. The music pumping in the background, right? People that you wouldn't really suspect to be working on this type of technology in there fucking blasting away at the brains, the communication centers, the fucking tracks themselves, all of these things lined up. I mean, it was just, it's exactly like they explained it.
Straight out of Pimp My Ride, but with a military twist.
Some of them are kamikaze drones that are supposed to have mines. Some of them will be fitted with special turrets that have those like Browning M2. There you go. As you can see, they're working. That have like Browning M2.
Look at that fucking thing, huh? Wouldn't want to see that pop out from a fucking bush that you're walking by. I can tell you that much.
2.7 millimeter machine guns.
For example, it took us about 2.5 years to develop the Ardal, and it has already gone through more than 90 modifications. We're constantly changing it because the battlefield is changing. Requirements are changing, and so are the technologies and knowledge we use.
Even though we can't disclose the amount of drones produced here, we know that officially Ukraine plans to produce 20,000 of UGVs in 2026.
I'm confident that Ukraine right now has the capacity to produce more than 50 or 70,000 ground robotic systems, but the state isn't placing that level of demand on us. Let's put it this way. We need a lot of everything. We lose ground robots every single day. We never know how many evacuation units or strike drones we'll lose. So you always need to have reserves.
Right. If something was happening to me on a battlefield, I'd probably be evacuated on a trailer behind these kind of drones.
Like here, for instance.
The average UGV survives 1 to 2 weeks on the battlefield. Some are lost completely, others can be restored.
And again, showing you the need for the, the resupply parts, for, all the different integrations that go into making these, much like we talk about with the vehicles. from the NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade campaigns all the way from cars to Ukraine, the drones that are being sent in by all different organizations, like they don't last long. Okay. And there's a reason why we need to consistently and continuously be keeping up on these campaigns and helping out any way we can, because, the trucks take a beating, the drones take a beating, the men and women also obviously take a beating. So it's like, a lot of these things are utilized and kind of wasted so that the soldier's life isn't, you know what I mean? So, the damages to the trucks, the damages to the drones, like those can be resupplied. You need to continuously have the resupply, but again, it's a lot better than losing, a man or a woman on the battlefield, something that's much harder to replace. So, again, you can see how beneficial these things are, what great work Victor has been doing as far as this is concerned, and just how kind of beneficial it is in being utilized on the battlefield. I'm sure there's multiple soldiers out there that owe their lives to this technology, multiple fucking, battalions out there and multiple squads out there that owe the fact that they still have food, water, electricity, battery power, whatever it may be, clothing, fucking goggles, anything, extra drones, is because of one of these kind of, one of these vehicles that has been built and continues to be built, hopefully at a continuously rapid pace. And more, like he said, I think he just said that there was some capacity to build some 50 to 70,000 of them. I'm not sure if that's per year, but he also said that the Ukrainian government isn't putting that much pressure on them. But again, that may change soon, considering how beneficial and how much they can be utilized. And again, how this, the battlefield continues to change. So you never know where it's going to go. You always want to be prepared. But, when I saw this and I saw what it was about and I saw the first 2 seconds of it, a lot of memories came flooding back. I was, really kind of excited and shocked and surprised to see that they were even able to release this video, again, with all the security that we went through, with all of the kind of, making sure that, again, your cell phone wasn't on, the whole 9 yards of security that you had to go through. It's crazy to see. It really is. Not only that, but to have those things that you saw firsthand being built, speaking to the people that built them, also being utilized, and seeing the video of them being utilized on the front lines is, again, pretty fucking cool. Again, even as dark as the situation is. But I appreciate you guys. I think we're out of here for today. I think that's the show. Another great show as we try to dive into the nonsense and the bullshit that's been coming out again this morning. As far as the non-opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Again, I'll reiterate the Iran's conditions seemingly on this detail that they still have full and total control, or at least more leverage and control over the Strait of Hormuz than they did just prior to this war, and much more than the United States seems to have the ability to control what happens in the Strait of Hormuz. We're also going to have to keep an eye on the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, as was reported here by a couple different accounts close to the Iranians. Basically, if the United States doesn't kind of play ball, if they don't kind of jump when the when the Iranians say they need to jump, again, if they don't dissolve the blockade, if they decide to stop ships that the Iranians don't want them to stop, whatever happens, then it seems like this is going to be the next point of contention. The next piece of action that happens is going to be the Houthis and their quote-unquote borderless warriors taking over the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which would have even more severe consequences and put even more pressure on the world economy and basically everything that you guys buy. So we're going to have to keep our eye on it. I'm sure there's been even some breaking news and some things to change and come out since we've been on. So I'll see if we can kind of get caught up after the show. And if there's anything we need to kind of pop on as far as breaking news, we'll see if we can. But otherwise, let's see if we can get into thanking some people that were kind enough to send over a contribution on Venmo as we try to do things independently here on Blunt Politics. We don't have any sponsors, financial backers. I'm not going to sell you a mattress that they sent me last night, but I'm going to tell you it's changing my skin or some bullshit. I'm not going to sell you any fucking leather clothes or some Italian fashion shoes or anything like that, because you can use, QR code Boston Brian or hashtag, whatever the fuck. I'm not going to do it. Okay, we don't charge for the Substack. All the content is free, nothing hidden behind a paywall. I think that's the way it should all be done. Again, to each their own. I'm sure there's a ton of content that you guys watch that's interrupted by ads. But I can't do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to say that you need money in your pocket to watch my content. You guys have been supporting me from fucking day one here, and why you would need to have to pay to see some important or beneficial piece of news that I came out with is fucking asinine to me. So all I ask for, again, guys, is your support, your generosity. And if you find some, benefit, some information, some education in the show, If you got $1 or $2, that's all I ask for, $1 or $2. At some point, I probably should start asking for more, but at this point, we're going with the $1 or $2. I think that's very substantial. If everybody in the chat gave $1 or $2, it would really, really change the game here as far as what we could do, what we could kind of produce. I really want to be able to, at some point start flying around the country and start covering all of these, big news aspects and bringing you guys the firsthand accounts of, the rallies and the whatever takes place. So it's only going to be with your help that we can grow to that point. I know it's a slow haul. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of my skis, but let's see if we can get to 20K. Let's see if we can build this to a kind of recognizable platform that people have to contend with. I think that's the ultimate goal. So, but again, all you guys out there that have been supporting from day one, I'm not gonna make it so that you can't support. I'm not gonna make it so you can't see if you're having a rough month. You know what I mean? If you guys are having a tough year, whatever the fuck, if you guys are pinched because of some paycheck or an injury, I'm not gonna make it so you guys can't see the content. I find that to be ridiculous, asinine, and people that are trying to portray themselves now as independent but going towards the mainstream media kind of aspect and agenda is really starting to piss me off. So hopefully you guys recognize what we try to do here. And I know it's a slow roll. I know we got growing as quickly as you would if you did it other ways, but we are trying to do it the right way. So thank you so much to Suzanne. Thank you for the $20 contribution. Fascinating stuff about the drones. Thanks, much appreciated. Like I said, I know sometimes what I get into and what I like isn't always what the crowd likes or what the group likes. But again, it's something that I'm passionate about, something that I will continue to be passionate about. So hopefully you can at least stick with me, if not be passionate about that with me. So thank you so much to Suzanne. Thank you so much to Roxanne as well. Very much appreciated. Happy Friday right back to you. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And then everybody over the last couple days, as I like to go back. Thank you so much to Nancy. Thank you so much to MRD. Much appreciated for you. Thank you so much to Tom. Oh, thank you, Tom. I see that, brother. Very much appreciated. From Tom, thank you. Hopefully I can get out and hit a bucket of balls at some point. It was, sunny the last few days. I've been kind of working. It's been sunny, but now that we got a day off coming tomorrow, looks like it's going to be about 42 degrees and rainy. So that's kind of how my luck goes. But thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, brother. I see you popping that one in. Thank you, Geneva, Allison. Thank you to Yakov, V. Sawyer, Teague. Thank you so much. Thank you, Allison and Tom, the altar boy, Rochelle, over the last couple days, Jenny, Faye, Damon. Really do appreciate you guys. Thank you, Heidi, Nancy, again. You guys have been fantastic in trying to take care of this show. Some months are better than others. You know what I mean? Some months it's looking like it's getting up there, and then other months it's looking like it's going down there. But you know what I mean? That's how it goes here on YouTube. It's not consistent. It's not the same thing every time, and you never know what you're gonna fucking get. It's like a box of chocolates here on YouTube. So thank you to everybody that's consistently been trying to keep my head above water here. So I appreciate you. Let's see if we can get into thanking some people on YouTube. First and foremost, thank you and congratulations to Carl Smith for being here for 25 months, contributing to the channel, supporting the channel, even longer than that. I'm sure, Carl, you've been an OG for the channel and a big help to the channel for a long time, and I very much appreciate you, brother. Thank you for 25 months. Looking forward to another 25 more. And then look at him, nice enough to throw in a 20 in there. Another Dubski in there by Kyle. Appreciate you, brother. You are most welcome, Boston Brian. Here comes the Sparklers. And again, much appreciated to the Sparklers. Anybody that came over from Hal's show, as you guys typically do. I really do appreciate you for repping and supporting the channel. I know there's a ton of sparklers in that chat that don't, for whatever reason or another. I'm going to have to get to the bottom of that, but I appreciate the sparklers that do come over. But fucking A, if I'll be damned if I don't know why the other ones don't come over. We'll figure it out, though. We'll figure it out. Maybe I know I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I can tell you that much. But thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Aaron, for the one gifted. Thank you so much for your gifted membership. One other person gets another membership in the chat because they're amazing and because Aaron's amazing. Let's make sure we're reaching out to everybody in the chat here that's contributing. Big old W's in the chat for everybody contributing to the show here today. Thank you, Rox. What's going on with shipping? YouTube. What's that mean? What's going on with shipping? I'm not sure what that means, Rox. Not sure what that means. I'm lost as far as that. I'm lost in the sauce. But thank you for the contribution, and thank you for being a great mod. I do appreciate that. Let me know what you mean, though. I'm lost. Nola, thank you so much for the $5. Thanks for bringing a laugh. Oh, much appreciated. Much appreciated. Was it the? I'm going to go ahead and say that was about the Lego portion of the show. Seems to be the fan favorite. It really does. Seems to be the fan favorite, not only on this show, but everybody on social media seems to be digging those Lego videos. So thank you, Nola. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you to How to Live with a Smile for the one gifted membership. Another W, How to Live with a Smile in the chat there for the gifted membership. Thank you to Brian. I believe the Lincoln dude was a Quaker. That's what I was thinking too. Because the German Like there's obviously a lot of German dialect, a lot of German aspects into the, the Amish culture, the Amish way of life, and also like, what is it, the Pennsylvania areas, having that kind of that Dutch aspect as well. So I thought that's what I was thinking in my head, but I didn't want to be a fool. I didn't want to look like I was way off in that regard. Probably could have looked any dumber than calling it Russian, but what are you gonna do? But I appreciate you, Brian. Thank you for filling me in there. And I do believe you are right. I think I was kind of thinking that in the background as well. But I appreciate the $5 contribution. Thank you for being here. And thank you to JD, as always, for the Siempre Ente Fascista. Thank you for the $5. Much appreciated for contributing to the show. As always, trying to keep this little fucking train that could rolling, this little podcast that could truck it along. You know what I mean? It's difficult. Some days it's not looking like it's going to be beneficial, and then other days it's like, you know what, let's fucking do it no matter what, right? But you guys keep me going. You guys keep me motivated here. It's your passion. It's your belief in kind of the things that are going to change, and that we are going to be the ones to change it, that keep me fighting here every single day. So regardless of what happens with the growth, regardless of what happens with money, we'll be here, right here, bringing you the news, sifting through the bullshit, sifting through the propaganda, because I have the best mods in the world, the best chat in the world. So there's absolutely no reason in the world to stop doing it. So I appreciate you guys for getting me this far. Like I said, try to get us to 20K and beyond. It's only with your help, your generosity, and your contributions that we're going to get there. Try to spread the word throughout the other platforms, in the other chats. Don't be like abusive. Don't be kind of overpowering. Don't take away from the content. But, a couple dropped lobsters in the chat somewhere over there. A couple, hey, watch Boston Brian. If you like this, if you check out this, you know what I mean? If you like what you're watching here, you'll definitely like this guy. He's brash, he's loud, he's blunt, but he's down to earth, and he kind of gives it the, he kind of speaks about it the way we all think about it. So whatever you guys can do. I know you're out there doing your part. And again, I'm trying to, figure out different ways to make this kind of platform explode. And there's just not really any like secrets out there. There's just not. You just got to keep plugging, keep trucking along. And again, I appreciate you guys for sticking with me as we do just that. So shout out to the mods, shout out to the chat. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I will see you Sunday. Again, unless something big happens, unless something big breaks, and we have to come on and kind of report that as far as breaking news is concerned. Enjoy your Saturday away from me. if again, you need a break. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Again, I'll see you Sunday for the Sunday show, for the main show, as we call it. I don't know why, seemingly when the most people kind of tune into the show. It is what it is. Probably because it's the first show that we started on Sundays. But, what are you going to do? I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the mods. Appreciate you. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. And make sure you're keeping your head on a swivel out there. Make sure you're staying safe, because as we continue to get out there, for whether it's the general strikes, whether it's just the no kings or the hands off, make sure you guys are staying safe out there. You got some exit strategies. Make sure that the people out there trying to instigate aren't getting you involved. I know we saw a couple actions outside of the Whipple building. A right-wing agitator kind of got to the crowd and got exactly what she wanted. Gentleman came in and shoved her to the ground, which absolutely cannot be condoned or endorsed in any way, shape, or form. Again, that is just feeding right into their propaganda, feeding right into their hands. Be loud, be proud, be aggressive, get in their faces, make it as uncomfortable as possible. But again, unless you're defending yourself, unless you're, it's some action of self-defense, don't go around putting your hands on other people. And especially if you're a grown-ass man, don't be pushing fucking women down to the ground, please. That's just asinine. Let's be real. All right, I appreciate you guys. I'm out of here. Thank you, and I will see you Sunday. I can't leave you out. I can't leave you out. Anybody that contributes to the show is going to get they're going to get their time in the sun. It's going to get their time to shine. So thank you so much, DPD 5844 for the $20 contributions. Blumenthal, Coons, Cortez, Masto, Rosen, Fetterman, Gillibrand, and Schumer all voted to sell more weapons to Israel. What a bunch of cod swallop. And Boston Brian, what about a 24-hour marathon to raise more revenue? That's a thought. I know there's been, Tom's been trying to get me to do, to turn one of the shows in, or at least a portion of one of the shows into like a call in. Like, I'm a little skeptical about that, because I know, and I've seen kind of like the idiots and the wackos that take advantage if you give out a phone number and the bullshit that you have to sift through. Every now and again, you do get a good phone call and a good conversation. I understand, but I'm a little hesitant about that. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's anything that you guys think of things that we could change the show, or things that we could add for the show, or way to make things better, or things that you want to change as far as not liking now, whatever it may be. I'm always up for your opinions, always up for interpretation, and what you guys think we can do to to grow this channel, grow the platform, and get more people watching. That's all. Right. So appreciate you, DPD. Totally in agreement with what you said. We covered it yesterday. I believe it was on the show. And these assholes, again, seeing that the leadership of this party is again in no way, shape, or form trying to stop aid or not aid, but weapon sales, fucking digging equipment and shit used to eradicate Palestinians from their whole land. Doesn't want to see that be stopped. Is again just showing us exactly kind of the position that we're in and how badly we need to continue to fight and get more people, younger people, and better people in there with better policies that aren't taking money from Israeli lobbies and AIPAC and shit like that. And again, this is a perfect example of the people that we need to get the fuck out of this fucking government. So appreciate you, DPD. Thank you for throwing that in there at the last minute. I was always going to make sure to highlight and recognize you guys. So thank you, everybody on Venmo. Thank you, everybody. Again, I think there's a PayPal as well. Throw that on the screen every now and again. But if you have PayPal, you can search out Blunt Politics. If you got YouTube, if you got Venmo, same thing on there. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys Sunday. Thank you, DPD, and thank you everybody else that contributed in the chat. W's to all you handsome and fantastic motherfuckers. I appreciate you. I'm out of here. I think a lot of people try to do it through Discord.
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Make sure you head over to bostonbrian.com, guys, if you want to pick up your anti-fascist, pro-resistance, pro-Antifa merch. Please head over there. Check out the hats, the cups, the mugs, the bags, the lags, the dags. All the shit we got. Appreciate you. Always remember Donald Trump said this.
For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. God bless the United States. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. How to officially name the undisputed. When did this come out? You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your. He says wrecked him, damn near killed him. Get off my plane.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it. I've become an expert on guns.
Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Tell the director to call the White House. Do your fucking job!
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
You know what uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.